Chapter 1031. Jiang Shan Hemingway Map and Sakuraji felt as though they had been struck by lightning when they saw Jiang Shan being torn apart by the spatial cracks. Their minds went blank and they could not believe what had just happened. Immediately after, a towering rage erupted from their bodies like a volcano and suppressed Yi Qinfeng, Mo Fengyan, and the rest. Mo Fengyan, how dare you kill my son? I'll kill you. Hemingway Map lost his mind when his two favorite sons died one after another. He let out a sorrowful roar and took out the Tao treasure God statue. With a daunting divine might, he attacked Mo Fengyan and the rest. God statue, what does your son's death have to do with me? Mo Fengyan quickly stood in front of Yi Qinfeng and the rest and took out the Tao treasure ghost-killing array diagram to resist the destructive attack of the God statue. If it wasn't for you, my son wouldn't have died. Hemingway Map was like an enraged lion. He glared with his blood-red eyes and said in a cold voice, he was determined to kill Yi Qinfeng, Mo Fengyan, and the rest to vent his anger. I've already warned him that it's dangerous ahead. However, he didn't listen and insisted on taking the risk. He was torn apart by the spatial cracks and lost his life. His death has nothing to do with us. Marquis, Senior Zhe, please uphold justice for us. Mo Fengyan said neither arrogantly nor humbly. All right, Ming Tu, your son's death has nothing to do with them. My condolences, and don't cause any more trouble. Mo Fengyan and the rest were still useful. Before obtaining the opportunity in the abyss of hell, the Marquis of Qianming did not want to split up. Marquis, I said, don't cause any more trouble. Look at the big picture. If they can leave the abyss of hell alive, I will give you an explanation. The Marquis of Qianming interrupted Hemingway Map and warned him with a gloomy face. Yes, although Hemingway Map was unwilling, he did not dare to disobey the Marquis of Qianming's order. He had to suppress the killing intent in his heart and took back the God statue. However, Mo Fengyan and the rest were his targets. As long as he had the chance, he would kill them without hesitation. Walking this way, the space here is relatively stable. An old man wearing a long robe made of golden threads, with a long face and a goatee and eyes flashing with light, suddenly accelerated and charged into the chaotic space filled with spatial cracks. This old man was Lu Yin, a famous formation master in the Kirin Kingdom. He had studied formations for hundreds of years and had a very high level of attainment in them. His soul was also more powerful than ordinary people. Master Lu Yin took the lead while the Marquis of Qianming, Old Zhe, and the others followed closely behind him, and they moved through numerous spatial rifts. Hemingway Map and his wife glared at Yi Qinfeng. Mo Fengyan followed behind the experts of the Kirin Kingdom. They meandered through the chaotic space, shuttling through this extremely dangerous space. Come on, let's follow. Yi Qinfeng ignored the killing intent in the eyes of Hemingway Map and his wife. He transmitted his voice to them and followed at the back of the group. While sensing the hidden dangers in the space, he moved quickly. After about 30 breaths of time, under Great Master Lu Yin's lead, Yi Qinfeng's group safely passed through the space with a large number of spatial cracks hidden in it. They arrived at the entrance to the abyss of hell, which looked like the mouth of a great, desolate beast and was filled with a thick aura of death. What a terrifying aura! Even a peerless king would be frightened to death by this aura. Feeling the aura of death coming from the entrance of the abyss of hell, Yi Qinfeng's breathing paused for a moment, and an inexplicable sense of unease appeared in his heart. Marquis of Qianming, Old Zhe, you are here. Two tall and sturdy men with explosive muscles and boundless strength walked out from a dark corner. Level 9 heavenly beasts. These two were transformed from level 9 heavenly beasts. Looking at these two tall and sturdy men, Yi Qinfeng immediately recognized that they were not from the human race. They were transformed from two level 9 heavenly beasts, and they were extremely terrifying. Marquis Qianming asked in a deep voice, "How is it? How is the situation inside? After dozens of men of sacrifice used their life force to detect, the aura of death in the abyss of hell was relatively weak at this moment. A normal battle beast emperor could withstand the aura of death inside. However, the situation in the abyss of hell was very complicated, and no one knew what would happen inside. One of the tall and sturdy men said, everything would have to wait until they were inside. Marquis Qianming nodded and said, Master Lu Yin, thank you. Seal light deactivate. Master Lu Yin summoned 88 array flags and controlled them to rotate quickly, forming a seal-breaking array. He released the seal-breaking light into the seal at the entrance of the abyss of hell, forcefully weakening the seal and opening the entrance. All right, everyone follow me into the abyss of hell. After speaking, Marquis Qianming released a powerful half-demon power and merged it into the Gu Dao treasure's demonic snake seal. He controlled the demonic snake seal to release a boundless Dao light that enveloped him. He was the first to fly towards the terrifying entrance of the abyss of hell, broke the seal and disappeared. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and enter the abyss of hell. Elder Zhe, who looked proud and arrogant, gave an order that was not to be disobeyed. As soon as old Zhe finished his words, Yi Qin Feng, Mo Feng Yin, and the others wrapped themselves in powerful Dao will and forcefully broke through the weakening restriction at the entrance. They followed closely behind the Marquis of Qianming and entered the abyss of hell, which contained great opportunities but was also accompanied by great danger. Gray sun, black moon. After entering the abyss of hell, the first thing Yi Qin Feng saw was a dark gray sun that was hanging high in the sky. It was emitting a gray radiance, as well as a demonic black moon that was filled with mysteries. Other than the gray sun and black moon in the sky, the entire world of the abyss of hell was gray. It was filled with the aura of death that had almost turned into liquid. The aura of death seeped through everyone's pores and frantically entered their bodies, greatly suppressing their cultivation realm. Young Master Yi, my cultivation realm has been suppressed by 1.5 levels. In here, I can only unleash the strength of a Class 4 combat beast emperor. Under the influence of the aura of death in the abyss of hell, Mo Fengyun's cultivation realm was suppressed. He quickly transmitted a message to Yi Qin Feng. I'm still fine. The aura of death has almost no effect on me. Although Yi Qinfeng's body was filled with a large amount of aura of death, he had the primal chaos divine wood and the undead spirit pearl. He was able to completely restrain the aura of death and eliminate its influence on him. Everyone, get used to the spatial energy here. 2 hours later, we will enter the abyss of hell. The Marquis of Qianming, Old Zhe, and the others were also suppressed. They all sat cross-legged on the ground and got used to the aura of death in the abyss of hell. They were thinking of ways to weaken the aura of death on their strength. Shishu! Suddenly, a faint sound of friction in the air rang out in the dark space. It slowly approached the group that was sitting cross-legged at the entrance of the abyss of hell. There's danger. The strongest Marquis of Qianming and Old Zhe were the first to sense the danger. They opened their eyes and saw several ghost-like dead souls floating over in the gray fog. They immediately controlled the 2 Gu Dao treasures floating above their heads to attack, directly killing 5 drifting dead souls. However, the dead souls in the abyss of hell were too strange. There was still 1 dead soul that managed to dodge the attack of the 2 Gu Dao treasures, like a wisp of green smoke. It entered the body of a Yu family disciple who couldn't dodge in time. Ah! A mournful scream rang out. The body of the Yu family disciple that was invaded by the dead soul immediately rotted and turned into a large amount of pus and blood. The rotting parts revealed the white bones. The immense pain made him hover between life and death. He constantly begged for help. Save me, family head. Save me, I don't want to die. The Yu family disciple stretched out his rotting right hand and crawled towards Yuchan. After crawling for 2 meters, all the flesh on his body rotted and he turned into a skeleton. He couldn't be more dead. After devouring the life force of a Yu family disciple, the dead soul turned into a black light and attacked the next target. At this moment, a roar that sounded like a dragon's roar and a tiger's roar came from Old Zay's mouth. It fiercely bombarded the body of the dead soul and directly killed him. Mobile reading website. Book address. To make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the bookmark button at the bottom to record this reading. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1032. This abyss of hell is indeed dangerous. Everyone be careful. Don't let the dead souls enter your body. The Marquis of Qianming said with a gloomy expression. One of them died right after entering the abyss of hell. Everyone's morale was affected. In order to prevent accidents from happening again, Master Lu Yun summoned 256 array flags, while everyone was getting used to the abyss of hell's law power. They formed a large array that enveloped everyone, preventing the sneak attacks of the mysterious dead souls that would cause casualties. Very quickly, 2 hours passed. After more than 2 hours of adaptation, everyone's strength was still suppressed. Among them, the Marquis of Qianming and Old Zay's strength both fell to the peak of Class 6 Beast Emperor. Hemingway Map, Yu Gu, and the others were also suppressed by 1 level and were unable to display their peak strength. You open the path in front. The abyss of hell was too dangerous. The Marquis of Qianming didn't force himself. He pointed at the 2 experts who were heavily injured by the spatial cracks and whose battle strength was greatly reduced, and gave an irresistible order. Although they knew what it meant to open the path, they didn't dare to disobey the Marquis of Qianming's order. They could only obediently walk in front of everyone, attracting the danger that could appear at any time as they walked towards the depths of the abyss of hell. Flower, a flower. As they walked, a half-meter-tall flower with a flower the size of a wash basin appeared in front of everyone. It was blood-red and emitted a fragrant fragrance, attracting everyone's attention. No, this flower is strange. Although the flower in front of them was very beautiful, when everyone saw this flower, they still felt a trace of a strange feeling. Just as everyone stopped walking, the 2 people who were walking at the very front and closest to this strange flower were attracted by the refreshing fragrance of the flower. It was as if they had lost their souls, and their eyes were empty as they walked towards this strange flower. Don't come near, come back. Old Zay opened his mouth, and a bell-like Sanskrit sound was released from his mouth. It blasted into the 2 people's soul seas and forcefully woke them up. But at this moment, this strange flower suddenly extended its stem. A circle of sharp, blade-like teeth appeared on the flower that was the size of a wash basin. It bit one of the people's head and directly bit it off, chewing it up and swallowing it. Seeing the tragic death of his companion, the other expert was scared out of his wits. He didn't even think about turning around and running away. But this strange flower was even faster. The flower, which was full of fangs, bit his head like lightning and swallowed it before Hymingtu could save him. Poseidon died. Seeing the East Sea Palace disciples' head being bitten off by the strange flower in front of him, Hemingway Map let out a furious roar. He controlled the Tao Treasure Sea Deity statue to grow bigger as if it had a life of its own. With the Sea Deity trident in his hand, he ruthlessly stabbed at the strange flower. After being attacked by the statue, the strange flower trembled violently. A large number of cracks appeared on the blood-red flower, but it did not shatter. This greatly surprised everyone. The evil creatures in the abyss of hell were indeed terrifying. Even after taking a hit from a Tao treasure, it did not shatter. The defense of this flower was simply too terrifying. Yi Qinfeng's brows twitched slightly. He felt that the dangers of the abyss of hell far exceeded his imagination. He could not believe that such a dangerous place would be related to his origins. Boom! 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 Under the all-out attack of the Poseidon under Hemingway Map's control, the strange flower shattered, revealing a round, blood-red bead that looked like a dragon's I suspended in midair. Collect! Looking at the blood bead in front of him, the Marquis of Qianming stretched out his hand. A large amount of Tao will turned into a huge hand that covered the sky. He snatched the blood bead away before Hemingway Map could. What pure energy! The energy contained in this blood bead was no less than that of an ordinary great Tao elixir. The Marquis of Qianming sensed the energy contained in the blood bead. His eyes lit up as he stored it in his Qinquan ring. Come, you two take the lead. The Marquis of Qianming pointed at Mo Fengyun's two trusted subordinates and ordered loudly, Yes. The men of sacrifice of the West Demon Sect, whose sole consciousness had long been controlled by Mo Fengyun, obeyed. They held two extremely sharp spears in their hands and walked at the front, continuing to go deeper. Grassland. Why was there a green grassland in front of them? Walking on the pitted black ground, everyone discovered many severely weathered skeletons, broken stone tablets, and broken weapons. As they walked, a green grassland appeared before everyone's eyes. Many wild flowers bloomed in the air, full of vitality. However, just as the two men of sacrifice of the West Demon Sect walked into this green grassland, everyone suddenly stopped in their tracks, revealing shocked expressions. Legs. Their legs were rotting. Seeing the legs of the two men of sacrifice of the West Demon Sect turning into pus and blood, revealing their bloody bones and white soles, many people felt their scalps go numb, and they were terrified. The two men of sacrifice of the West Demon Sect let out terrified cries. They completely lost control of their bodies and fell onto the green grassland. However, the instant their bodies came into contact with the grassland, their bodies also started to rot, turning into pus and blood, revealing their white bones. A thick smell of blood spread out from their bodies, making people feel nauseous. No, this grassland is hiding a large number of dead souls. Let's speed up and fly over. Old Zay, with his deep eyes, saw through the grassland's real situation. He poured a large amount of soul power into the Gu Dao treasure chessboard, controlling it to fly out and open a path for him. Everyone followed him. The Marquis of Qianming and the rest flew into the air, closely following Old Zay as they flew over this strange grassland. After flying for a short while, a large number of dead souls drilled out from the grassland, letting out bone-chilling cries as they attacked Yi Qinfeng and the rest. They wanted to devour their flesh and blood, as well as their lives. Don't slow down. Let's speed up and rush out. Old Zay, who was at the front, roared as he controlled the chess pieces to fly out, piercing through the dead souls that were blocking his way, crushing them into pieces. The two level 9 heavenly beasts also transformed into their original forms, transforming into a ferocious lion and a pitch-black bull, crazily killing each other. Although the disciples who were qualified to enter the abyss of hell were the elites of the 3 holy lands, the dead souls in the abyss of hell were too terrifying, and their attacks were impossible to guard against. While they were trying their best to break through, many people's defenses were still broken through by the dead souls. The dead souls drilled into their bodies, and their flesh began to rot, turning into a pool of blood. Piles of white bones scattered all over the ground. Seeing people dying continuously, and the process of dying was so painful, the experts of the 3 holy lands felt a chill down their spines. Large amounts of cold sweat appeared on their foreheads, and their auras were affected. Sky demon demonic ropes, seal the space. Mo Fengyun roared as he controlled his powerful soul power to condense 5 sky demon demonic ropes. They were like flood dragons, circling around Yi Qinfeng and the rest, killing the dead souls and protecting them. Flame formation burn. When everyone tried to force their way out, Master Lu Yin shot out 99 top-grade formation flags from his body, forming a powerful flame formation above his head. A large amount of flames were released from the formation, burning the dead souls that drilled out of the grassland. Whether it was lightning or flames, They were the nemesis of souls. Under the attack of the flame formation, the pressure on everyone was greatly reduced, and they attacked fiercely. After more than 2 hours of breaking through, they killed their way out of the extremely dangerous grassland and continued to fly in the abyss of hell. As they flew, an illusory song entered their ears, causing their souls to be deeply immersed in the song, unable to extricate themselves. Mobile reading website. Book address. In order to facilitate your next reading, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1033. Guard your mind and don't let your soul fall into the song. Listening to the endless, sorrowful song that seemed to come from the distant horizon. The strongest Marquis, Qianming, and Elder Zhe were the first to regain consciousness. The two of them let out a shocking howl that pierced through the sky. The terrifying sound waves caused the void to tremble violently, forcibly interrupting the sorrowful song that was circling their souls and stirring up the sorrow in their hearts. What a terrifying song! Even my soul was lost in that instant. Yi Qinfeng said with lingering fear. Through the slowly drifting fog of death, Yi Qinfeng saw a woman with black hair that was like a waterfall, a perfect figure, and a large patch of snow-white skin sitting beside a slowly flowing stream. She held a fishbone comb in her hand and combed her long black hair while singing softly. "Don't go! Come and accompany me. I am so lonely. I need someone to accompany me." Mournful singing stopped abruptly. The long-haired woman, who had her back facing them, let out a demonic voice that made people shudder. It pierced through the sound waves in the air and pierced into the soul sea of a 9 Phantom Mountain disciple whose soul was relatively weaker. In the next moment, the 9 Phantom Mountain disciple's eyes became empty. As if he was possessed, he suddenly flew towards the woman. His speed was so fast that it exceeded everyone's reaction. "Yu Yen, come back!" Yu Yuan, the sect master of the 9 Phantom Mountain, who was a Class 5 combat beast emperor, roared. A large amount of Tao intent erupted from his body, condensing into a large hand of Tao intent. He grabbed at Yu Yin, who had lost his consciousness and had lost himself. He wanted to grab him back. Suddenly, the fishbone comb in the woman's hand shot out, turning into a ray of death. The powerful force directly broke through Yu Yuan's hand of Tao intent. In the next moment, a hair-raising scene appeared. The woman slowly turned around, revealing a ferocious face. Half of her face had turned into a skeleton. Her long fingernails pierced into Yu Yan's skull and forcibly pulled it off, revealing a bright red brain that kept squirming. A large amount of blood splattered into the air. Ah! A painful shriek shattered the silence. The woman used her fingernails to dig out Yu Yan's brain and swallowed it with great enjoyment. Then, she bit Yu Yan's trembling neck and drank all the blood in his body. "It's so delicious. I haven't eaten such delicacies in tens of thousands of years." The woman stuck out her scarlet tongue and licked the remaining bloodstains at the corner of her mouth. "I want your life." Yu Yun was Yu Yuan's illegitimate son. He was quite talented in cultivation and had broken through to the rank 1 combat beast emperor realm at a young age. Yu Yuan's heart shattered after witnessing his death. He roared furiously and summoned his Tao treasure, the dark serpent bell. With an ear-piercing sound, he attacked the woman. Dong the fishbone comb that had just torn apart the will of Tao hand shot over at an extremely fast speed. It fiercely collided with the bell of Ghost Serpent and resisted the bell of Ghost Serpent. A series of deafening bell chimes resounded in the void. "Give up your brain and be set free." A stifling aura emanated from the woman's body. This aura was so strong that it made the young disciples of the 3 holy lands feel suffocated. Suddenly, the woman sitting by the stream mysteriously disappeared. "Be careful!" Old Zay's pupil shrank, and he immediately shouted a warning. The powerful sound wave was like a rushing river, bombarding the space in front of you Wu Yuan, and forcibly blasting the woman out of the track of speed. 3 fingers of the netherworld, cloud-piercing, blood-weeping, extreme break. Wu Yuan, who felt a chill down his spine, quickly pointed 3 fingers. Each finger ray, stronger than the previous one, fiercely pierced the woman's body, trying to pierce through her. Whoosh! With an ear-piercing sound, the woman once again entered the track of speed and dodged Wu Yuan's 3 fingers of the netherworld. She then appeared in front of a Yu family disciple who had turned pale with fright. The Yu family disciple instinctively dodged in the face of danger. Suddenly, a large number of illusions appeared in front of his eyes. An extremely beautiful woman wearing a white veil appeared in front of him. Her exquisite body was faintly discernible, and her appearance was extremely seductive. She was so seductive that his soul was momentarily lost. Heavenly demon, Dance, the Yu family disciple, was in danger. Yu Gu and Yu Rao quickly attacked. 2 demonic shadows appeared around his body, releasing a sky-high demonic aura. They attacked the strange woman, trying to force her to retreat. However, the strange woman's strength was beyond imagination. Her hands turned into 2 beast heads, smashing the 2 demonic shadows into pieces. She suddenly opened her mouth, revealing long fangs, and bit towards the head of the Yu family disciple who had lost his mind. Heavenly demon, Dance 8 directions at the critical moment. Mo Fengyun merged with the power of his demon heart. His entire arm merged with the heavenly demon Dao soldier, turning into 8 heavenly demon Dao blade shadows. They whistled as they slashed towards the strange woman, forcing her to retreat. Ao the strange woman was forced back by Mo Fengyun. The 2 level 9 heavenly beasts from the Kirin kingdom roared and exploded with shocking demonic energy. They stirred up the death energy and spun rapidly, slamming into the strange woman's body. She was sent flying, and her entire chest caved in. Despicable humans, go to hell! With her body injured, the strange-looking woman let out a shrill howl, her long black hair dancing wildly in the wind. Waves of demonic energy surged out of her body, and she engaged in a fierce battle with the 2 approaching heavenly beasts. The 2 level 9 heavenly beasts were terrifying, but the strange woman was stronger. She resisted the fierce attacks of the 2 level 9 heavenly beasts by herself, and she was not at a disadvantage. Break! The golden lion roared, and a mighty lion shadow emerged from his strong body. It rushed towards the strange woman, trying to smash her body into pieces. At this time, Barbarian Bull launched a fatal attack, trying to kill the strange woman together. Suddenly, the strange woman's body blurred and merged into the rapidly flowing death mist. She dodged the Golden Lion's and Barbarian Bull's fierce attacks and wanted to escape. Can you escape? Marquis Qianming's reaction was faster. His body flashed, and he blocked in front of the strange woman. A ball of scorching flame spewed out of his body, swallowing the strange woman directly. No, the heavenly fire! Swallowed by the scorching flame, the woman let out a painful howl. She kept venting her powerful demonic energy, trying to tear apart the heavenly fire and escape. However, the heavenly fire that Marquis Qianming had subdued was of high quality. It kept burning her body, not giving her a chance to break free. In an instant, the flesh on her body melted, leaving only white bones. True Qilin Seal Marquis Qianming pressed his hand down, and a large amount of Dao intent flew out of his fingertips, turning into a Qilin handprint. It fiercely bombarded the white bones that were struggling violently, crushing a large amount of white bones and crushing her soul consciousness. When the violent aura gradually dissipated, an egg-sized, crimson-red bone covered with reproduction patterns floated in the air. It reflected a demonic light, and it was extremely strange. Mobile reading site. Book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Collect button below to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1034. Could this be the demon Thearka's bone? The rumors were true. Looking at the floating bone covered with ancient patterns, Marquis Qianming and old Zay's eyes lit up. They were extremely excited. Retrieve! Marquis Qianming stretched out his hand and condensed a dowel hand. He grabbed the demon Thearka's bone and kept it in his palm. The power of the demon Tharch. This bone contained the power of the demon Tharch. Holding the crimson bone covered with patterns and feeling the energy it contained, Marquis Qianming confirmed the rumors and became even more excited. Marquis, what is the demon Thearka's bone? Where is this abyss of hell? Hemingway Map looked at the excited Marquis Qianming and asked, "Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. Let's go and continue forward." Marquis Qianming returned to normal and took out a white jade box from his yin and yang ring. He sealed the demon Thearka's bone in the box and kept it before continuing to fly into the abyss of hell. Demon Thearka's Bone Yi Qinfeng, who was in the crowd, frowned slightly. He was basically sure that the people of the Kirin kingdom knew the secret of the abyss of hell. This secret was most likely related to the demon Thearka's inheritance. Could it be that the demon Thearka's bloodline also flows in my body? Yi Qinfeng had a ridiculous thought. However, he quickly rejected it. The death fog in the abyss of hell was extremely dense, making it difficult for the group to determine their direction. They could only rely on the gray sun and the black moon in the sky to vaguely determine their direction. After flying for a short while, the group was attacked by the strange creatures formed by the blood beads. After spending a lot of effort, they destroyed them and obtained a blood bead. Time passed day by day. The group of people groped their way forward in the abyss of hell, which was full of danger. As they went deeper, the number of dead souls in the abyss of hell increased. It created a lot of trouble for the group and caused more casualties. The last death warrior of the West Devil Sect and a disciple of the 9 Nether Mountain died in the tide of dead souls. One of the Yu family members had his arm torn off by a dead soul. His body was severely injured, and his combat power was greatly reduced. However, in the intense battle, they obtained 8 blood beads that were comparable to great Dao elixirs. However, they didn't encounter any more monsters formed by the demon Thearka's bone. This made Marquis Qianming and the rest feel regretful. It's dark. Tonight, we will rest under the hill in front and continue to explore the abyss of hell tomorrow morning. As the gray sun in the sky of darkness of hell, there was no vegetation, and it was bare. They rested and recuperated their soul power. They recovered. As the space grew darker and darker, everyone who was recovering suddenly felt the ground beneath them tremble. It was as if a terrifying power was brewing under the ground. Crack! The hill they were leaning against suddenly cracked. Streams of red energy surged out from the broken hill and the ground tens of miles behind it. Instantly, a large area of the ground caved in, and the dark night sky was dyed blood red. Something's we quickly. Sensing that the baleful aura in the air was getting thicker and thicker, and the blood-red energy spraying into the night sky was getting more and more numerous. The entire space was in chaos. Everyone's heart trembled as they smelled the thick scent of death. They quickly retreated. Boom! Just as everyone flew away, a large amount of crimson energy gushed out, instantly engulfing the hill that was hundreds of meters tall, destroying everything in the space. Within the scarlet energy, a scarlet storm that tore through space swept out. Like a tsunami, it chased after Yi Qinfeng's group. Damn it! Feeling that the red storm was like an ancient beast, if they were to be swallowed by it, there would be no hope of survival. Everyone's expression changed greatly, and they increased their flying speed to the peak, leaving behind afterimages under the night sky as they fled for their lives with all their might. Yi Qinfeng and the others were escaping at an extremely fast speed, but the scarlet storm behind them was moving even faster. The energy contained in the storm was constantly attacking their souls, causing them to fall into a state of fear. After a stick of incense's time, the Yu family's expert, whose arm had been torn off by the dead soul, was swallowed by the scarlet storm. In the blink of an eye, not even his bones remained. Not long after, another person was swallowed by the crimson storm. Everyone split up and escape. Find shelter in the mountain range ahead. Once we are safe, we will use the communication pearl to contact each other. When everyone escaped into a towering black mountain range, Marquis Qianming made a prompt decision and shouted loudly. Just as Marquis Qianming's voice fell, everyone immediately split up in the mountain range and used all their strength to cross this mountain range that was close to 10,000 meters tall to find shelter. Boom! As everyone flew over the mountain range, the scarlet storm ruthlessly bombarded the black mountain range. The terrifying impact caused the dragon-like mountain range to tremble violently. Large patches of vegetation and mountain rocks were turned into dust, and cracks appeared on the mountain. This abyss of hell was indeed dangerous. With such terrifying power, even sacred beasts would have no chance of survival if they were engulfed in it. Yi Qianfeng, who was moving at an extremely fast speed, moved around in this mountain range that stretched for an unknown number of miles, crossing many steep mountain ranges. Finally, he found an underground crack that stretched for an unknown number of miles in this black mountain range, and he entered it in a flash. The next moment, with a thought, he entered the Qinkuan realm and waited for this destructive storm to pass. Time passed by slowly, and the scarlet storm raged for more than an hour before it gradually dissipated. After being baptized by the destructive storm, the entire space was in a mess. The air was filled with the power of death, and it was constantly corroding everyone's body, further suppressing their strength. Feeling that the outside world was relatively safe, Yi Qianfeng left the Qinkuan realm and appeared outside. He was ready to contact Mo Fengyun and meet up with him. Who is it? Yi Qianfeng had just taken out his communication pearl when he suddenly felt a powerful aura locking onto him. He frowned slightly and looked at the far end of the crack. He saw an old man in a dark blue robe with a long white beard and a light pearl floating above his head, flying towards him. Hai Pingyang, the great elder of the East Sea Palace. Looking at the blue-robed old man flying towards him with an ominous glint in his eyes, Yi Qianfeng immediately recognized him. He was the East Sea Palace's great elder, Hai Pingyang, whose status was second only to the old palace master Hai Dongtian, palace master Hemingway Map, and the East Sea Palace's great elder. He was a level 5 combat beast emperor. However, Hai Dongtian had always been in seclusion in the East Sea Palace, so Hai Pingyang was the second in command of this operation in the East Sea Palace. His status was even higher than Sakuraji. Brat, I have to say, your luck is really bad to have met me here. Tell me, how should I torture you to avenge my country? Hai Pingyang revealed a cruel smile and said coldly, Actually, I should be the one saying that. The corner of Yi Qianfeng's mouth rose slightly. An aura that was beyond Hai Pingyang's imagination burst out from his body, shattering Hai Pingyang's aura lock and shaking his body. You, who exactly are you? Hai Pingyang did not expect Yi Qianfeng to have hidden his strength, and his strength was so strong. His expression changed slightly, and his heart was filled with great waves. He asked as if he was facing a great enemy. Who I am is not important. What's important is that this day next year will be your death anniversary. Yi Qianfeng said with murderous intent. Will of the Way surged within his body. He was prepared to use the death qi in the air to cover up and quickly kill Hai Pingyang, weakening the East Sea Palace's overall strength. Mobile reading website. Book address. For your convenience, you can click on the Save button below to record your reading history. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1035. Violent sea, raging, sky feeling that something was amiss, that Yi Qinfeng had hidden his strength and was plotting something. Haipingyang didn't hesitate to burn his bloodline power and transformed into his strongest beast soul form. He executed the East Sea Palace's powerful inherited Dao skill and attacked Yi Qinfeng. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement, test countless Dao intents gushed out from his body and quickly condensed above his head, forming a boundless sea. The rolling waves churned in the sea, as though a water god was charging down furiously. Boom, 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 the terrifying violent sea waves ruthlessly bombarded Yi Qinfeng, who was standing on the spot and didn't dodge, instantly engulfing him. However, in the next moment, a huge crack appeared in this ferocious sea of might. Yi Qinfeng stepped on the sea of fury and broke through Haipingyang's attack. Then, using the sword steps, he soared into the sky. Triple ultimate water restriction, illusory shark water shadow, illusory flood dragon water shadow. After witnessing the scene of Yi Qinfeng shattering the violent sea, raging sky, Haipingyang's heart trembled. He quickly deduced the Dao intent to the extreme. He conjured a ferocious sea shark with one hand and a ferocious flood dragon with the other. They coiled around the void and bombarded Yi Qinfeng, who was approaching rapidly. Sword steps. Yi Qinfeng ignored Haipingyang's triple ultimate water restriction. He took a step forward, and a multitude of sword patterns appeared under his feet. A large number of sword Dao patterns flew out and formed a sword rain, tearing apart the illusory shark water shadow and illusory flood dragon water shadow. Following that, a 5 elements giant hand shot out from Yi Qinfeng's body and bombarded Haipingyang with the force of Mount Tai. When the palm struck down, the space within a 1-mile radius was distorted. The space trembled and greatly reduced Haipingyang's dodging speed. The palm ruthlessly imprinted on his body and broke through his soul power defense. He was bombarded to the ground from midair, and a large amount of blood spurted out from his mouth. "You, who exactly are you?" Haipingyang didn't expect Yi Qinfeng to be so powerful. He quickly consumed a precious Dao elixir to suppress the injuries on his body and asked with a trembling voice, "Who do you think I am?" Yi Qinfeng smiled faintly. He used his sword steps and flew back towards Haipingyang. He continued to attack him, wanting to kill him quickly. Dao Treasure Ocean Pearl, destroy! Haipingyang quickly spat out a few mouthfuls of blood into the light bead floating above his head. He activated the attack power of the light bead, dragging a long trail of light behind him. Like an extremely fast meteor, he blasted towards Yi Qinfeng. Death Spirit Bead. Break! Yi Qinfeng did not summon any Taoist treasure. Instead, he stimulated the power of the 5 acupoints in his body. With the help of the dead spirit bead in his Shunmen acupoint, his attack was amplified and he threw a punch. Kacha, the Dao Treasure Ocean Pearl, was sent flying by Yi Qinfeng's fist with a force of 80 million Jin and the dense power of death. Cracks spread on the surface of the ocean pearl. What? Shattering a Dao treasure with a single punch? Witnessing the scene in front of him, Haipingyang was so shocked that his eyeballs almost fell out. He couldn't believe that Yi Qinfeng's attack was so terrifying that it could even shatter a Dao treasure. Haipingyang, if you have any other means, use them now. Otherwise, I'm afraid you won't have a chance. Yi Qinfeng said in an unruly manner. He threw a punch across the air. The punch was filled with the power of death. It carried an astonishing, oppressive feeling and fiercely bombarded down, forcing Haipingyang to dodge quickly. But the moment he dodged, Yi Qinfeng drew an afterimage in the air and appeared beside him at an astonishing speed. He once again threw a punch and bombarded his chest. This punch sent him flying. His entire chest caved in and his flesh began to wither. Death, the power of death. Feeling that Yi Qinfeng's punch had cut off part of his vitality, Haipingyang was really frightened. He used the blood escape art at all costs, wanting to forcibly break out and escape. Chi! The sound of cloth being torn was heard. A shocking sword light split out from Yi Qinfeng's body, splitting the violently tumbling Death Qi. The sword broke through the defense of Hai Pingyang's body and cut him in half, killing him on the spot. Withdraw. After killing Hai Pingyang, Yi Qinfeng immediately took away his belongings. He spat out a ball of death flame heavenly fire, melting his body and destroying all traces. But after destroying the body, Yi Qinfeng didn't leave immediately. Instead, he cast his gaze at a pile of rocks in the distance. He walked over slowly and said, "You Julie, stop hiding. Come out. You are indeed powerful. I didn't expect you to find me, even after I completely hid my presence." Yu Julie, who was wearing a blood-red robe, did not hide anymore. He walked out from the pile of rocks and looked at him coldly as he spoke. "If I were you, I would have escaped just now." Yi Qinfeng looked at his old rival and said coldly, "What, you want to kill me?" Yu Julie said coldly, "I'm not afraid to tell you that my father and the others are nearby. As long as I crush this sensor soul crystal, my father will come quickly. Once my father arrives, you will be dead for sure." "Really? Why don't I believe you?" Yi Qinfeng's lips curled up slightly. A sharp sword Dao pattern shot out from his fingertip and flew towards Yu Julie's forehead at a speed that couldn't be seen by the naked eye. Crack! A cracking sound came from Yu Julie's body. The amulet he wore on his neck was broken. It formed a strong defensive yellow light that covered his body and blocked Yi Qinfeng's sword Dao pattern. "You, do you want to be hunted down by the 9 underworlds mountain?" Yu Julie didn't expect Yi Qinfeng to dare to kill him. He quickly crushed the sensor soul crystal and took out 2 defensive treasures in front of him to protect himself. Soon, the East Sea Palace, the Yu family, and the 9 underworlds mountain will no longer exist in the eastern mainland. But I'm afraid you won't live to see that day. Yi Qinfeng exuded a domineering aura as he spoke arrogantly. You are Yi Qinfeng." Hearing Yi Qinfeng's arrogant words, Yu Julie raised his eyebrows. He immediately guessed Yi Qinfeng's identity. From what he knew, only Yi Qinfeng dared to say and do this. "Yu Julie, I didn't expect you to be so smart. You actually guessed my identity." Yi Qinfeng smiled faintly and admitted his identity calmly. Blood escape after knowing that the person in front of him was Yi Qinfeng. Yu Julie's last hope was shattered. Without hesitation, he burned all the blood in his body and turned into a ray of blood light, trying to leave the crevice. As long as he could leave, he would have a chance to ask for help. Then he would be saved. "Do you think you can still run away after knowing my identity?" Yi Qinfeng's eyes narrowed and locked onto Yu Julie, who had turned into a ray of bloodlight. Under the control of his mind, the sword soul flew out of his mind and turned into a shocking sword shadow. It tore the space apart and attacked Yu Julie at a speed several times faster than the speed of light. Qi! The sword soul pierced through the 2 defensive treasures and slashed Yu Julie's body in half. A large amount of blood splashed down like rain and dyed the ground red. They came so quickly. When Yi Qinfeng took away Yu Julie's belongings and destroyed his body and was about to leave, his powerful soul sensed the aura of Yu Yuan and the Golden Lion. He hesitated for a while and gave up the idea of killing them. He hid in the universe mirror. Mobile reading website. Book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this book. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1036. Jiu Li. Jiu Li's aura had disappeared. Could Jiu Li have been killed? When Yu Yuan rushed to the crack, he found that Yu Li's aura had disappeared. The air was filled with the power of death, and there was a faint smell of blood. His heart sank. Who is it? Who is so bold to kill my son? I'm going to kill him and his whole family. Yu Yuan was like an injured lone wolf. He stared at the sky with his blood-red eyes and howled. When the two heirs of the East Sea Palace, Hai Jiangshan and Hai San Jian, died one after another, Yu Yuan was secretly delighted. But now Yu Ju Li, whom he had high hopes for, was also dead. This heavy blow made him cry, and he fell into a frenzied rage. There was no one in the crack. Jin Shi, who had great strength and keen senses, quickly searched the crack. He did not find anyone suspicious, so he returned to Wu Yuan and whispered, "Impossible! The murderer could not have left here. He must be hiding in the dark." Wu Yuan did not give up. He released his powerful soul power and searched for the ferocious beast that killed Yu Jiuli. However, after searching through the entire area, he did not find anyone suspicious. Instead, he found quite a few ferocious dead souls hiding in the dark. This made him even more annoyed and furious. How could this be? Could it be that Yu Jiuli was not killed by a human, but by the dead souls here? Yu Yuan could not accept this fact and roared angrily. If Yu Jiuli was killed by the dead souls, then he would not even have the chance to take revenge. No, Jiuli was not killed by the dead souls. If the dead souls killed Jiuli, they would only suck his blood dry and leave his body. Jiuli's body was missing. Someone must have destroyed it. Thinking of this, Yu Yuan continued to search the entire crack, searching every corner. And the dead souls hiding in the dark were all killed by him in anger and dissipated between heaven and earth. Sect Master Yu, Master Ho just sent a message, asking us to meet up with them quickly. Just as the furious Wu Yuan searched the entire crevice 3 times and killed all the dead souls hidden in the crevice, Jin Shi appeared beside him and whispered to him, "Don't worry, brother Wu Yuan. Go." Yu Jiuli's face darkened as he hesitated. He had a feeling that Yu Jiuli's murderer was still in this crevice, but he had not found him yet. However, he had no choice but to listen to Marquis Qianming's order. After making a choice, he took out 10 sensor crystals and split 10 strands of soul strands into the 10 sensor crystals at all costs, spreading them all over the crevice. In this way, if the real culprit appeared, he could immediately know who the vicious beast was through these 10 sensor crystals. However, just as Yu Yuan and Jin Shi left the fissure and flew towards the rendezvous point, Yu Yuan suddenly felt his soul tremble. The 10 sensor crystals he had left in the fissure were struck by a terrifying soul attack and exploded. The soul he had left behind in the crystal was not spared either. It was directly crushed, injuring his own soul. "Where are you?" When the real culprit appeared, the furious Yu Yuan raised his speed to the peak and turned into a blurry afterimage in midair, returning to the fissure at an extremely fast speed. However, at this time, Yi Qinfeng, who was even faster, used the stun spell to shatter the 10 sensor crystals and left the fissure. He concealed his aura and hid in the mountains, watching Yu Yuan fly past him before slowly flying towards the rendezvous point. "Xianshu, are you okay? Are you hurt?" Seeing Yi Qinfeng flying in the air, Mo Fengyan immediately went up to him and asked with concern, "Thank you for your concern, Master. I was lucky to find a long and narrow cave at the critical moment and hid in it to avoid the disaster." Yi Qinfeng said with lingering fear, "Fengyan, your disciple is not bad. If he can leave the abyss of hell alive, I am willing to accept him as my last disciple." Yu Gu slowly walked over and looked at Yi Qinfeng, who had an ordinary appearance but extraordinary talent and strength, and said, "The Yu family had suffered heavy losses, and their genius disciples had suffered heavy casualties. Therefore, the Yu family urgently needed new blood to have the hope of making a comeback." Mo Fengyan was startled and showed a trace of hesitation. "What? You can't bear to part with Yu Gu," said with an ugly expression, revealing a trace of displeasure in his voice. It was Xian Shu's blessing that Senior took a fancy to him. Mo Fengyan sighed softly and said, "Xian Shu, what are you waiting for? Quickly thank Senior for his kindness." "Thank you, Senior Yu. Junior will definitely leave the abyss of hell alive." Yi Qinfeng said excitedly, "Good, good. This life-saving talisman is for you." At the critical moment, it can save your life. Yu Gu was very satisfied with Yi Qinfeng's expression and gave him a precious life-saving talisman that could withstand the full blow of a level 6 combat beast Emperor Master. Jin Shi, weren't you with Yu Yuan? Why did you come back alone? Marquis Qianming, who was sitting cross-legged and adjusting his state, looked at Jin Shi, who was flying over on a golden light, and frowned slightly. Yu Juli was killed in a crack in the ground. Sect Master Yu is looking for the real murderer to avenge his son. Jin Shi said, What? Yu Juli was killed? Marquis Qianming and the others' faces darkened. Are you sure that Yu Juli was killed by someone and not by Annihilation Storm or Dead Souls? Originally, I also thought that Yu Juli was killed by Dead Souls, but Sect Master Yu left 10 sensing stones in that crack and 10 strands of souls in them. However, not long after we left, the 10 sensing stones shattered and the 10 strands of souls were also destroyed. From this matter, it is very likely that Yu Juli was killed by someone. Jin Shi said in detail, There are no outsiders in the abyss of hell except for us. Is there a traitor among us? Thinking of this, Marquis Qianming, Old Zay, and the others' eyes became fierce as they constantly scanned the crowd. I will send a message to those who are not here to urge them. If they are still not here in half an hour, that person is very likely to be the real murderer who killed Yu Jili. Marquis Qianming said angrily with a fierce look in his eyes. He could not believe that there was a traitor among them. Half an hour passed quickly. Except for Yu Wuyuan, Yu Juli, and Hai Pingyang, everyone else had arrived at the gathering point. How come the Grand Elder was not here? Hemingway Map saw that Hai Pingyang had not arrived for a long time and felt the seriousness of the situation. If Marquis Qianming suspected that Hai Pingyang was a traitor, he might be implicated. However, Hemingway Map knew that Hai Pingyang could not be a traitor. There were only 2 possibilities for him to be late. Either he was trapped in a dangerous place or he was dead. Hemingway Map, do you know where the Grand Elder of East Sea Palace went? Marquis Qianming asked in a low voice with a gloomy face. I don't know either. Hemingway Map braced himself and said, Hemingway Map, if I find out that Hai Pingyang is the traitor, I will not forgive you. Marquis Qianming warned coldly, Let's go. Let's go to the crack and see if there are any clues left behind. With that, everyone left the gathering point and went to the crack where Yu Jili died. However, Yi Qinfeng was very cautious. He released the death flame to burn all the traces. Marquis Qianming and the others searched the crack carefully but still found nothing. Hai Pingyang, who had disappeared mysteriously, became the first suspect. Yu Wuyuan, who was filled with murderous intent, was even more certain that Hai Pingyang was the real murderer. In his opinion, the death of the 2 heirs of East Sea Palace was a great motive to kill Yu Jili. He wanted to cut off his own bloodline and the future of East Sea Palace. He did not want 9 Underworld Mountain to shake the foundation of East Sea Palace in the near future. East Sea Palace, you are so cruel. Yu Wuyuan glared at Hemingway Map and the others. He was so angry that he gritted his teeth. The 2 holy lands had broken off their relationship because of this. All right, let's not waste any more time. Let's move on. Since he could not find any valuable information, Marquis Qianming lost his patience and gave up the search. In the end, everyone left the Black Mountain Range under Marquis Qianming's lead. They continued to fly into the depths of the abyss of hell in search of the hidden great opportunity. Mobile reading site, book address. To make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click Save at the bottom to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1037. Time flew by quickly. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement, test soon. A month had passed. In this month, Yi Qinfeng and the others had encountered several life and death crises. The 3 Saint lands suffered heavy losses again. 3 of them lost their lives, and 2 of them were severely injured. They almost lost the ability to fight again. However, they obtained several blood pearls that were comparable to the great Tao elixir. However, they didn't encounter the demon formed by the demon, the Archbone, again. In the fierce battles, the 3 Saint Lands that suffered heavy losses didn't obtain a single blood pearl. They were all taken away by the Marquis of Qianming and Old Man Zhe. The 3 Saint Lands were angry, but they didn't dare to say anything. They regretted following the Kirin kingdom to explore the abyss of hell and search for opportunities. Lake. There was a lake in front. As Yi Qinfeng and the others flew aimlessly, a serene lake that was shrouded in gray fog and surrounded by aquatic plants appeared in front of them. The aura of a demon god. There was a demon, the Archbone, in this lake. When they flew above the lake, the Marquis of Qianming and Old Man Qian could vaguely feel the same power as the demon, the Archbone. They revealed a trace of excitement. The main purpose of entering the abyss of hell was to capture the demon, the Archbone, that was very important to them. If they could bring out a large number of demon, the Archbones from the abyss of hell, the Kirin kingdom's overall strength would increase significantly. It wouldn't be a dream to surpass the 9 heavens god nation. They had to obtain the demon, the Archbone, in this lake. The Marquis of Qianming, Old Man Zhe, and the other experts of the Kirin kingdom secretly made up their minds. Everyone, pay attention. I will lure the demon out from the lake. You guys get ready to attack at any time. Try to injure the demon, formed by the demon, the Archbone, in one strike. Old Man Zhe shouted. A large number of yin and yang chess pieces fell off the chessboard and surrounded his body to protect him. In the next moment, the terrifyingly powerful Old Man Zhe broke through the rippling lake surface and swam to the bottom of the lake at an extremely fast speed. He approached the location of the demon, the Archbone. In just 5 breaths, a piercing roar sounded from the bottom of the lake. The entire lake surged. A large number of water pillars rose into the sky like dragons, splashing endless water. Very soon, Old Zhe flew out of the chaotic lake and into the void with blood flowing out of the corner of his mouth. Following him to the surface of the water was a huge black turtle, the size of a small hill, its eyes like lightning, its mouth wide open as it roared furiously. It was a level 9 heavenly beast. The demon Emperor Bone was in the black turtle's body. Sensing the strength of the black tortoise, the Marquis of Qianming revealed a solemn expression. If they were in the outside world, both the Marquis of Qianming and Old Zhe would be able to easily kill this level 9 heavenly beast black tortoise. However, in the abyss of hell, they were restrained by the power of the abyss of hell, and their strength was greatly affected. In addition, this black tortoise's defense was extremely strong, and it could sink to the bottom of the lake at any time. It was very difficult to kill it. Marquis, I'll leave the mission of killing this black tortoise to you. I'll cut off its path of retreat and not let it casually escape into the lake to hide. Old Zhe took a deep breath and transmitted his voice. Good, as long as it didn't escape to the bottom of the lake, they could still kill it with the combined strength of everyone. The Marquis of Qianming nodded and said, Despicable humans, why did you disturb my slumber? The black tortoise glared at the Marquis of Qianming and the others with its ferocious eyes and said furiously, if it didn't feel threatened by the 2 level 9 heavenly beasts, the Marquis of Qianming and Old Zhe, with this black tortoise's ferocious nature, it would have already killed them. Attack! The Marquis of Qianming was determined to obtain the demon Emperor Bone. He didn't waste any words with the black tortoise and transmitted his voice. Plop! Old Zhe sped up and dived into the turbulent lake again. A pure white, crystal clear, heavenly water appeared on his body. Under the stimulation of the continuous infusion of half-demon energy, it released endless cold air and froze the lake. Kacha! Under Old Zhe's control, the lake quickly froze. In the blink of an eye, 1/10 of the lake was frozen, and the temperature of the air rapidly dropped. sky-rending hand just as the black tortoise noticed the abnormality in the lake and wanted to dive into the bone-chilling lake to kill old Zay. The Marquis of Qianming roared, and the lightning Dao diagram appeared on his body. He quickly deduced the Dao intent and condensed a lightning hand with flowing Dao patterns. With the power to split the sky, it grabbed at the black tortoise's shell. A terrifying power grabbed it and lifted it up. Sea god statue, demon statue, serene snake bell. Ghost-killing array diagram the moment the black tortoise was grabbed by the sky-splitting hand. Hemingway map, Yu Gu, and the others all made their moves. They controlled their respective clan treasures and attacked the black tortoise. They wanted to gather everyone's strength to kill it. Roar! Roar! Lowly humans, I will destroy you. After being bombarded, the black tortoise trembled and blood flowed out from the corner of its mouth. It let out an uncontrollable roar. Close to 100 million kilograms of strength exploded from its huge body and shattered the sky-splitting hand. It spat out billowing demonic energy and attacked the Marquis of Qianming and the others. Xian Shu, you are too weak. Quickly dodge to the side. As Mo Fengyan attacked with all his strength, he shouted at Yi Qinfeng, who was not far away. Master, be careful. Yi Qinfeng nodded and dodged to the side, observing the battle in silence. As long as old Zay could completely seal off the black tortoise's path of retreat, the Marquis of Qianming and the others would be able to kill this ferocious and terrifying black tortoise. While the Marquis of Qianming and the others were attacking ferociously, old Zay unleashed the power of the heavenly water that he subdued to the extreme. The extremely cold air completely froze the entire lake, making it impossible for the black tortoise to sink to the bottom of the lake to hide. Lowly humans die. The black tortoise hid its bloody head, limbs, and tail in its indestructible tortoise shell. It spun at high speed like a top, causing the air to surge and space to become chaotic. It distorted the void and crashed towards the Marquis of Qianming and the others. Demon snake seal, resist. As the black tortoise crashed over, the Marquis of Qianming immediately opened his mouth. An ancient square seal with a coiling demon snake shot out from his mouth and collided with the black tortoise that was spinning like a top. Crack! The entire space couldn't withstand their fierce collision and immediately shattered. A large number of cracks appeared. Heavenly demon dance in all directions silent millstone when the black tortoise was hit by the cloud demon snake seal until its entire body was trembling. Mo Fengyan, Yu Gu, and the others all unleashed their ultimate killing moves. They bombarded its tough tortoise shell and shook its body, smashing it into the ice lake. Yin and Yang chess piece break. The black tortoise lost control of its body and smashed over. Old Zay immediately took out a large number of black and white chess pieces that contained the power of Yin and Yang and shot them towards the black tortoise's abdomen, which was in the opposite corner of its defense. After a series of intensive collisions, the black tortoise's abdomen was penetrated by several Yin and Yang chess pieces. A large amount of blood spurted out like rain and dyed the ice lake red. True Kirin seal, purple thunder 9 strikes. Seizing the opportunity when the black tortoise was injured, the experts of the Qilin divine nation unceasingly used their powerful inherited Dao skills to attack it. Although the powerful power was unable to break open the black tortoise's shell, it was able to cause its huge body to tremble violently. Layers and layers of vibration power were transmitted into its body, damaging its internal organs and worsening its injuries. Its injuries became more and more serious, but it also stirred up the black tortoise's vicious nature. It roared angrily, attacking ferociously. Before it died, it bit down on a Qilin divine nation expert, crushing more than half of its body. Boom! When this Kirin kingdom expert was about to be bitten to death, he unwillingly detonated all of his half-demon power and launched a fatal attack on the black tortoise. The black tortoise's huge head was blasted into a bloody mess and fresh blood flowed out. After about 30 minutes, the black tortoise finally couldn't withstand everyone's attacks and was killed by the combined forces of the Marquis of Qianming and the others. mobile reading site, book address. To make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1038. The Demon Emperor Bone was at the heart. Watermark advertisement test. Watermark advertisement test. After killing the ferocious black tortoise, Marquis Qianming immediately released his powerful soul power into the black tortoise's huge body and locked onto the Demon Emperor Bone at the heart. Break. 2 unusually sharp mid-grade Dao artifact purple-green dual swords flew out of his body. Under his control, they broke open the black tortoise's bloody abdomen and dug out the Demon Emperor Bone at the heart. Then, Old Zay made his move. He used the sky-splitting hand and forcibly kept the black tortoise shell that was full of attack marks into his universe ring. The black tortoise's demon core, heart, teeth, and bones are yours. After taking away the 2 most precious treasures from the black tortoise, Marquis Qianming gave the demon core and other items to Hemingway Map and the rest to prevent them from being dissatisfied and causing unnecessary trouble. When the 3 Holy Lands were dividing the valuable items from the black tortoise, Mo Fengyan and Yi Qinfeng did not fight for them. They stood aside in silence and waited. Let's go. We will continue to go deeper into the abyss of hell. After the 3 Holy Lands divided the black tortoise, everyone immediately left the frozen ghost lake and continued to fly deeper into the ghost lake to look for other scattered demon emperor bones. However, the abyss of hell was extremely vast and there were very few demon emperor bones. Everyone searched for half a month in the abyss of hell and killed a large number of dead souls, but they did not find a 3rd demon emperor bone. The temperature in the air dropped. Just as everyone was patiently searching for the demon emperor bone, they suddenly felt the temperature in the air plummet. As they went deeper, a large amount of cold air floated in the air and froze the surface of their skin. A world of ice and snow appeared in front of them, resisting the erosion of the cold air. Everyone flew for a while and found that in the space where the fog of death was floating, there was a world of ice and snow that filled the sky. Large snowflakes drifted down from the sky like dancing goose feathers and dancing musical notes. Holy and beautiful. Everyone be careful. This world of ice and snow should be dangerous. Flying into the extremely cold world of ice and snow, Marquis Qianming took out the Gu Dao treasured demon snake seal and suspended it above his head to prevent any possible danger. Roar, roar, roar. After flying for a while, several powerful snow beasts that lived in the world of ice and snow were alarmed. They opened their mouths full of fangs and let out shocking roars, pouncing on Marquis Qianming and the rest. Demon snake, Sealine, chessboard Pusite, and several huge snow beasts attacked. Marquis Qianming and the others immediately controlled their Gu Dao treasures to attack. Borrowing the power of the treasures, they killed the snow beasts one by one, revealing the blood beads in their hearts. Marquis Qianming and the others did not continue to fight for the blood pearls. They gave the blood pearls they obtained from killing the snow beasts to the people from the 3 Holy Lands, giving them some benefits. Well, the temperature in the air has dropped again. Something strange is going on ahead. The temperature in the extreme ice snow forest dropped again, causing Marquis Qianming and the others to become alert. They slowed down slightly and searched for the demon Thearcha's bones that might be hidden in the snow. An icy pool, a strange rock, a sword after passing through the layers of cold fog formed by countless layers of ice. The group discovered that in the center of the pure white snow, there was an ice pool emitting cold air. In the center of the ice pool, there was a strange craggy rock. On the rock, there was a long sword with its hilt exposed. When Marquis Qianming and the others appeared at the edge of the ice pond and released their powerful soul power to probe the long sword that was stuck in the strange rock, rays of dazzling light spread out from the strange rock. It was like a black hole that sucked in everyone's soul consciousness, making them feel lost, and their souls leaving their bodies. There is something wrong with that rock. Everyone, guard your mind and don't let that rock suck away your soul. Marquis, Qianming, and old Zhe were the first to wake up from their trance. They let out a Sanskrit roar that reverberated in everyone's ears, causing their eardrums to hurt and their souls to tremble. It forcefully pulled them back from their trance. What a terrifying rock! It actually has the mystical ability to suck in souls and prevent others from detecting the sword. Yi Qinfeng's soul also appeared to be lost for an instant. If the sword stone had such a mystical ability, it was enough to show that the sword was even more extraordinary. This caused him to have a strong interest in it. Marquis, why don't you let me try and see if I can subdue this sword? Old Zhe looked at the sword on the rock with a burning gaze and said slowly, "Okay, be careful." Marquis Qianming nodded and said, "Whoosh." Old Zhe flew up into the air and drew an afterimage in the air. He was like a swan as he flew above the ice pool. He approached the strange rock and wanted to pull out the sword. As old Zhe approached, a large amount of illusory light was projected from the strange rock. It created a large number of illusions in front of old Zhe and confused his soul consciousness. Nirvana realm experts were existences that had challenged the heaven domain gate. No matter if it was strength or soul, they were incomparably powerful. Rays of soul light were projected from old Zhe's body. It was like two large hands that tore apart the layers of illusions and appeared on the strange rock. They grabbed the exposed sword hilt that was covered with ancient patterns and embedded with a huge gem. They wanted to pull the long sword out. Buzz! Buzz! Suddenly, the long sword trembled. An ear-piercing sword cry resounded. A large amount of sword light was projected and attacked old Zhe. It stabbed his hand and forced him to retreat. Heaven-rending hands, the incomparably sharp sword light attacked. Old Zhe immediately executed his inherited divine ability. A large amount of Tao intent turned into a large hand that had the power to split the sky. He wanted to grab the incoming sword light and tear it apart. However, the power of the sword light was too great. A dense friction sound was heard, and old Zhe's heaven-splitting hand was torn apart. Yin-yang chessboard break. Old Zhe's expression changed slightly. He used the yin-yang chessboard with great power and borrowed the power of the Gudao treasure to shatter the sword light. I don't believe that I can't pull you out. Borrowing the power of the Gudao treasure, old Zhe continued to shatter the sword light and tried to pull out the sword. However, this sword seemed to have fused with the strange rock and was inseparable. Old Zhe tried several times, but he couldn't pull it out at all. Since he couldn't pull the sword out with brute force, old Zhe immediately forced out a large amount of essence blood and tried to drip it on the sword. However, when his blood landed on the sword hilt that was inlaid with gemstones, it was strangely frozen and couldn't seep into the sword hilt. Just as old Zhe was thinking of a way, a soaring sword light flew out from the longsword. It was like a sword dragon that pierced the sky and ruthlessly slashed the yin-yang chessboard. It produced an endless sword power and forced old Zhe to retreat. The blood and qi in his body were surging violently. Old Zhe, come back. This sword is strange and won't be easy to subdue. When Marquis Qianming saw a trace of blood on the corner of old Zhe's mouth, he frowned slightly and whispered, "If I'm not wrong, this sword should be one of the best among supreme-grade Tao artifacts." After experiencing the sword power, old Zhe flew back to Marquis Qianming's side and wiped the blood off the corner of his mouth. "Well, since it can injure you through the Gudao treasure, it shows that the sword power of this sword has reached the level of supreme-grade Tao artifacts." Marquis Qianming nodded. He was determined to get this sword. If he could get it, his attack power would increase by dozens of times. Even if he encountered an ordinary old monster from Nirvana, he would be able to fight. "I'll try and see if I can subdue this sword." With that said, Marquis Qianming summoned the demon snake seal and flew into the air. He passed through the layers of illusion and grabbed the sword hilt that was inlaid with the mysterious rock. Mobile reading website. Book address: In order to facilitate your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You can see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1039. So cold. The moment Marquis Qianming grabbed the sword hilt, he felt an unimaginable coldness being released from the sword hilt. It froze his hand and made him feel like he couldn't hold the sword hilt anymore. In the next moment, a large amount of cold sword light flew out from the longsword. The terrifying sword might cause the sky to change color. Sword light, each stronger than the last, intersected and attacked Marquis Qianming. Marquis Qianming's strength was above old Zay's. He reacted quickly. The thunder Tao diagram appeared on his body and turned into shocking bolts of purple lightning, shattering the cold sword light that was attacking him. 3 heads and 6 arms in order to subdue this longsword that was suspected to be a supreme-grade Tao artifact. The Marquis of Qianming burned his Qilin bloodline when he controlled the thunder Tao diagram to shatter the streaks of sword gleams. Surging demonic powers and increasing strength erupted from his body, condensing into many heads and extremely strong arms. True Qilin Seal Marquis Qianming's 6 arms formed seals at the same time and deduced the Tao to the extreme. They condensed into a lifelike and extraordinarily mighty Qilin divine beast. It stomped on the space and roared as it attacked the supreme grade Tao sword. Buzz! 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 After being attacked by the true Qilin seal, the long sword let out an even more ear-piercing sword hum. A dragon-like sword light flew out and struck the true Qilin seal like a hot knife through butter. There was a dense explosion and a surging gale. Purple and green twin swords. After the true Qilin seal was broken, Marquis Qianming continued to attack. The 2 mid-grade Tao artifact purple and green twin swords flew out from his 2 arms. They dragged long sword tails and constantly evolved into sets of mysterious sword moves to attack the longsword. He wanted to suppress its attack. The attack between Marquis Qianming and the mysterious longsword became more and more intense. The powerful force caused the air above the cold pond to constantly distort. Even the strange rocks that were filled with illusions began to crack. Mo Fengyan, if the Marquis Qianming fails to subdue the supreme grade Tao sword, Yi Qinfeng secretly fused the sword soul into Mo Fengyan's body. Although he knew that even if Mo Fengyan used the power of the sword soul to subdue the supreme grade Tao sword, it would still be taken away by the experts of the Kirin kingdom. However, he didn't mind. With the strength of a chaos divine beast, it was enough to kill the Marquis of Qianming and old Zay. Therefore, there was not much difference between him and the Marquis of Qianming. Demon Snake Seal, suppress. Unable to suppress the supreme grade Tao sword, the Marquis of Qianming had a thought. The demon snake seal, which was suspended above his head, descended with Tao to protect his body. With hundreds of millions of kilograms of power, it ruthlessly suppressed the supreme grade Tao sword. Kachacha, after taking a hit from the demon serpent seal, the supreme grade Tao sword was not damaged at all. However, the illusory strange stone could not withstand the power of the Gu Dao treasure. Cracks immediately appeared on it, spewing out a large amount of illusory power that confused the Marquis of Qianming, causing his reaction to become slightly slower. Although he recovered in a split second, the supreme quality sword grasped the opportunity and split into an extremely terrifying streak of light. It landed on his body, piercing through his defenses and sending him flying. A large amount of blood flowed from the wound on his chest. The Marquis. When the 2 level 9 heavenly beasts saw that the Marquis of Qianming was injured, they did not hesitate to fly over and protect him behind them. They exploded with powerful demonic power and shattered the streaks of sword light that were attacking them. They protected the heavily injured Marquis of Qianming and retreated to the side of the lake. Marquis, are you okay? Seeing that the Marquis of Qianming was heavily injured, Old Zay, Hemingway Map, and the others all came forward and asked with concern. The Marquis of Qianming was fine. He took an elixir and said unwillingly, "If I am not wrong, there is a terrifying soul hidden in that supreme quality Tao sword. If you want to subdue that sword, you must destroy the soul in the sword." "Marquis, why don't you let me try?" Under Yi Qinfeng's instructions, Mo Fengyin said bravely to protect himself. "You." The Marquis of Qianming frowned slightly. He looked at the cold-faced Mo Fengyin and said with surprise, "However, Hemingway Map, Yu Yuan, and the others all revealed a disdainful smile. In their opinion, even the most powerful Marquis of Qianming and Old Zay could not subdue that supreme quality Tao sword. With Mo Fengyun's strength, it was no different from suicide to forcibly subdue that sword. "I should have a way to subdue that sword." "Marquis, please let me try," Mo Fengyin said with neither arrogance nor humility. "Since you want to try, then go ahead." The Marquis of Qianming did not have much hope for Mo Fengyin and said lightly, "Thank you, Marquis." Then Mo Fengyin flew up into the void. He stepped on the void and slowly approached the supreme quality Tao sword that was stuck in the strange cracked rock. Because the strange rock was severely damaged, the power of the illusion was greatly weakened. It could not affect Mo Fengyin at all. In an instant he passed through the illusion and approached the supreme quality Tao sword. He summoned the ghost-killing array diagram to protect his body. Ghost-killing array diagram, suppress. Mo Fengyin spat out a mouthful of essence blood into the ghost-killing array diagram, activating its attacking power. Instantly, a creepy ghost cry rang out from the ghost-killing array diagram. A large number of array runes gushed out of the ghost-killing array diagram like a tide, attacking the supreme grade Tao sword. After being attacked by the ghost-killing array diagram again, the supreme quality Tao sword continued to split into powerful sword radiances. They crushed the array patterns and attacked Mo Fengyin's body. Mo Fengyin was forced to control the ghost-killing array diagram in front of him to block the sword radiances. However, the supreme quality Tao sword's attack was too terrifying. The ghost-killing array diagram had a hard time blocking it. Seeing that the sword radiances were tearing the ghost-killing array diagram apart, a large number of myriad transformations black lotuses split out of his body and attacked the supreme quality Tao sword from all directions. Boom! 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 Deafening explosions rang out. The entire space was instantly plunged into chaos. Billowing black energy dyed the space black. Just as the entire space was in chaos and was covered by the black storm, Mo Fengyin shot out the sword soul hidden in his palm. It flew towards the supreme quality Tao sword at an extremely fast speed. The sword's soul was extremely powerful and was the nemesis of souls. When it flew into the supreme quality Tao sword, it immediately fought fiercely with the soul hidden in the Tao sword. In order to not be seen through by the Marquis of Qianming and the others, Mo Fengyin kept condensing myriad transformations, black lotuses, to attack the supreme quality Tao sword. They formed a black storm that kept erupting. It covered the entire space and blocked everyone's vision and soul detection. Is there something wrong with Mo Fengyin's brain? Is such a large-scale attack useful? Seeing Mo Fengyin condensing myriad transformations, black lotuses, to attack at all costs, Hemingway Map, Sakuragi, and the others sneered. However, they did not know that the soul in the Tao sword could no longer withstand the sword soul's destructive attack. Its entire soul body was riddled with holes. Finally, under the attack of the sword soul's 10th level sword essence, the mysterious soul body was torn apart by the sword soul and disappeared into the supreme quality Tao sword. Collect! Sensing that the mysterious soul in the supreme quality Tao sword had disappeared, Mo Fengyin did not hesitate. He controlled the Tao sword to form a large hand and grabbed the supreme quality Tao sword that had lost its resistance. Under the shocked gazes of the Marquis of Qianming and the others, the supreme quality, Tao, sword flew back into his hand. Mobile reading site, book address. In order to make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the Collect button below to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1040. How did you do it? Hemingway Map opened his eyes wide and looked at Mo Fengyan as if he was looking at a monster. He couldn't figure out how Mo Fengyan could so easily subdue a supreme-grade Dao sword that even Marquis Qianming and the others couldn't subdue. Watermark advertisement. Test watermark advertisement. Test my 10,000 transformations. Black Lotus has the additional ability to attack souls, so it can destroy the soul in this supreme-grade Dao sword. Mo Fengyan explained. Mo Fengyan, you are very good. Marquis Qianming looked at him with surprise and said slowly, but this supreme-grade Dao sword is what I want. Are you willing to give it to me? If you are willing, you can follow me and follow me back to the Kirin kingdom to cultivate. Fengyan is willing. Mo Fengyan quietly put away the sword soul and gave the supreme-grade Dao sword to Marquis Qianming. Good. After getting the supreme-grade Dao sword, Marquis Qianming looked satisfied and took out 2 precious Dao pills from his Qinquan ring. Mo Fengyan, these 2 Dao pills are for you. As long as you are loyal to me, I will treat you well. Mo Fengyan said gratefully as he received the 2 great Dao pills from the Marquis Qianming. Damn, this Mo Fengyan is so lucky. Seeing Mo Fengyan become Marquis Qianming's confidant, Hemingway Map and Yu Chan looked jealous. However, with Marquis Qianming supporting Mo Fengyan in the future, they didn't dare to offend him. They could only vent their anger and jealousy on Yi Qinfeng. Good sword, it is really a good sword. Even among supreme-grade Dao weapons, this sword is one of the best. Marquis Qianming gently stroked the sword covered with Dao patterns. He felt that the quality of this sword was beyond his expectations and showed a trace of excitement. Congratulations to Marquis for getting this sword. Only a big shot like Marquis is worthy of this sword. Hemingway Map, Yu Chan, and the others hid their jealousy and came forward to congratulate him. With this sword in hand, who is my opponent? Marquis Qianming said proudly and laughed heartily. Let's go deeper into the abyss of hell and see what other great opportunities are waiting for us. With that said, the Marquis of Qianming dripped his blood on the supreme-grade Dao sword to claim ownership of it and put it into his body to refine before leading everyone to fly towards the end of this world of ice and snow. However, in this world of ice and snow, apart from this supreme-grade Dao sword, there was no other great fortuitous encounter that attracted them. After flying for a day or so, they flew past the extremely cold world of ice and snow, which was enough to freeze a peerless king-level expert to death. After determining the direction, they continued to fly into the distance. Very quickly, 8 days passed. During these 8 days, Yi Qinfeng's group encountered many dangers. However, relying on their powerful strength and increasingly tacit cooperation, they managed to turn the situation around without any more casualties. What's that? While the group was flying aimlessly in the abyss of hell, they noticed that there were 3 enormous spatial vortexes in the distance. They were releasing a powerful suction force, twisting space and devouring everything in the area. What a terrifying power! How could there be 3 spatial whirlpools here? Looking at the 3 spatial whirlpools that were moving slowly towards them, the group's expression changed slightly. They retreated slightly, not daring to be swallowed by the 3 spatial whirlpools. Marquis, do you think there is a great opportunity hidden in these 3 spatial whirlpools? Hemingway Map took a deep breath and looked at the spatial whirlpools that shocked him greatly. The appearance of these 3 spatial whirlpools is too strange. It is very likely that there is a great opportunity hidden in them, but also a great danger. The Marquis of Qianming nodded and said with a serious expression, "Marquis, we can find 3 people to go in and explore. Then we will know what is inside." Sakuraji looked at Yi Qinfeng maliciously and revealed a hint of seduction as she deliberately suggested this. This was a good idea. The Marquis of Qianming nodded and said, "Do you have anyone to recommend? Let's choose 3 people with the lowest realms. This way, even if there is an accident, we won't lose anything." Sakuraji's seductive red lips curled up slightly as she spoke, coquettishly. Hearing Sakuraji's suggestion, Mo Fingyun's eyes revealed a trace of viciousness. He felt that Sakuraji was deliberately targeting Yi Qinfeng and wanted to kill him, so he wanted to refute. But at this moment, Yi Qinfeng lowered his voice and transmitted it into Mo Fingyun's ears, not allowing him to act rashly. Although the 3 spatial whirlpools seemed to be abnormally dangerous, Yi Qinfeng had the universe realm, so he was not afraid of accidents. Moreover, he had a feeling that there was a great treasure in the 3 spatial whirlpools, so he wanted to take a look. "Okay, let's do it this way. Do you have any objections?" The Marquis of Qianming nodded and asked, "Since there is no objection, then I will leave the scouting to the 3 of you. If the 3 of you can help me find out the secret of the 3 spatial whirlpools, I will reward you handsomely." The Marquis of Qianming promised in front of everyone. "Come, insert a strand of your soul into this life soul stone. This way, if you die in the spatial whirlpool, we will know." Old Zay took out 3 extremely precious life soul stones and ordered without any room for objection. Yes. Yi Qinfeng and the other 2 obeyed and obediently separated a strand of their soul and inserted it into the life soul stone. "Okay, you can go now. I wish you good luck," Old Zay said slowly as he took the 3 life soul stones that had merged with Yi Qinfeng and the other 2 souls. Yi Qinfeng pretended to be terrified and flew into the air. He slowly flew towards the spatial whirlpool that was releasing the power of distortion. Looking at the 3 spatial whirlpools up close, Yi Qinfeng and the other 2 had a strong visual impact. The terrifying aura emitted from the spatial whirlpools gave Yi Qinfeng and the other 2 great pressure. This was especially so for the 2 disciples of the 9 Nether Mountain and the Yu family. They were so frightened that their guts were about to burst. Golden Body Secret, R.E. Qinfeng, did not dare to be careless. He used all his strength to break through the spatial whirlpool and used the Golden Body Secret art to cover his body with a layer of defensive golden light, further increasing his defensive power. Boom! The spatial whirlpool that was devouring the heavens and earth trembled. Yi Qinfeng burst out with an astonishing strength and forcefully passed through the spatial whirlpool. He endured the distortion that was enough to crush a mountain and flew into the spatial whirlpool. In about half an incense's time, Yi Qinfeng relied on his powerful physical body to pass through the spatial whirlpool and entered the pitch-black space without a trace of light. As for the other 2 disciples of the 9 Nether Mountain and the Yu family, their bodies were crushed by the distortion of the spatial whirlpool. Not even their bones were left. Mo Fengyan, your disciple is pretty good. With his strength as a rank 1 combat beast emperor, he was able to endure the distortion of the spatial whirlpool until the end. The Marquis of Qianming discovered that the life soul stones of the disciples of the 9 Nether Mountain and the Yu family had all been shattered. Only Yi Qinfeng's life soul stone was intact. A trace of surprise appeared on his face. Xian Shu is extremely talented. His physical body is even stronger than ordinary heavenly beasts. The reason why he was able to survive in the end should be because of his powerful physical body. Mo Fengyun said, "And this disciple of yours is also a promising talent. If he is able to leave the abyss of hell alive, both of you can follow me back to the Kirin kingdom to cultivate." The Marquis of Qianming nodded and said, "Thank you, Marquis." Mo Fengyun said gratefully. On the other hand, Yu Gu, who had the intention of accepting Yi Qinfeng as his disciple, had an ugly expression on his face. "Marquis, Should we enter the spatial whirlpool where Xian Shu is? Old Manzai saw that Yi Qinfeng was able to survive in the spatial whirlpool and felt that the risk of entering the spatial whirlpool was not too great. No hurry, let's wait a little longer. The Marquis of Qianming shook his head and said calmly. From his point of view, everything was under his control. With Yi Qinfeng's strength, he would not be able to cause any trouble. He had the intention of letting Yi Qinfeng explore the spatial whirlpool thoroughly. After confirming that there was no risk, he would enter. Mobile reading website. Book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record your reading history. You will be able to see it the next time you open your bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1041. So dark, this space is so dark. Looking at the pitch-black space, Yi Qinfeng immediately took out 3 moonstones. They floated above his head and illuminated the surrounding space. Watermark, advertisement, test watermark, advertisement, test. However, this space was very strange. The moonstones' light was constantly being devoured. The 3 moonstones could only illuminate about 10 meters of space. Fortunately, Yi Qinfeng's soul was strong enough. With his soul perception, Yi Qinfeng carefully flew into the depths of the pitch-black space. As he flew, he released his soul power and discovered a large number of living creatures ahead. They wriggled and emitted a thick smell of blood. They were crawling towards him at an extremely fast speed. So many blood-sucking bugs. Through the space illuminated by the moonlight stone, Yi Qinfeng discovered that a large number of blood-red, blood-sucking bugs with round mouths, no eyes, and 2 long antennae had appeared in front of him. Death Flame Skyfire, Purple Beginnings Sacred Thunder, attack. Thousands of blood-sucking bugs attacked. Yi Qinfeng immediately controlled the Death Flame Skyfire to envelop his body. He released extremely destructive Purple Beginnings, Sacred Thunder, to attack the tide of blood-sucking bugs. Although the blood-sucking bugs' attack power was terrifying, both the Death Flame Skyfire and the Purple Beginnings, Sacred Thunder were their nemesis. Under the attacks of the Purple Beginnings, Sacred Thunder, and the Death Flame Skyfire, large numbers of blood-sucking bugs were shattered and turned to ashes. Yi Qinfeng's speed did not decrease. He was like a sharp dagger as he rapidly tore through the blood-sucking bugs and continued flying into the depths of the pitch-black space. Soon, Yi Qinfeng tore through the blood-sucking bugs like a hot knife through butter. Not far ahead, he felt a powerful suppressive aura. 5 elements, Tao, steely after approaching. Yi Qinfeng discovered a 10-meter tall Tao stele with a large number of 5 elements, Tao patterns carved on it. Standing under the 5-element stele, the blood-sucking bugs, chasing relentlessly, did not dare to approach Yi Qinfeng. However, more and more blood-sucking bugs were gathering and sealing off his retreat. The densely packed bugs made one's scalp tingle. I didn't expect there to be a 5-elements Tao stele in this space. I wonder if I can comprehend the Tao intent contained within the 5-elements Tao stele and cultivate the 5 elements Tao diagram to the great perfection realm. His fiend god bloodline burned, and he had the strength to uproot mountains and rivers. Time was limited. Yi Qinfeng wanted to move the 5 elements Tao stele into the universe realm. He turned it scarlet red. His majestic and strong godly demon body erupted with a force of 100 million jin as he forcefully pulled. But when he tried to move the 5-element Tao stele, he discovered that the weight of this Tao stele far exceeded his expectations. Even when he pushed his physical strength to the limit, he was still unable to move the 5-element Tao stele. 5 Tao intents, Heaven Tao intent, Heaven Tao intent, pull. Yi Qinfeng took a deep breath and once again deduced the 3 fused Tao intents to the extreme. They transformed into a giant Tao intent hand and erupted with a powerful Tao intent energy to pull out the 5 elements Tao stele. But no matter what method Yi Qinfeng tried, No matter what methods he used, he was unable to shake the 5 elements Tao steel in the slightest. Finally, Yi Qinfeng summoned all the helpers in the universe realm and gathered everyone's strength to pull out the 5 elements Tao steel. But this 5 elements Tao steel was too heavy. Even with the help of the spiritual fishes and chaos divine beasts, they were unexpectedly unable to move the 5 elements Tao steel. Helpless, Yi Qinfeng could only give up. He controlled his God-Eater brain and forcefully engraved the 5 elements Tao patterns in the 5 elements Tao steel. I hope the Marquis of Qianming and the others don't come in and disturb me. Yi Qinfeng closed his eyes and increased the God-Eater brain's deduction speed to the limit. It seeped into the 5 elements Tao steel and forcefully engraved the innate 5 elements Tao patterns in the God-Eater brain. It has been 2 hours, and that Xian Shu is still not dead. It seems like the space he is in is safer. Let's go in. The Marquis of Qianming and the others waited patiently for more than 2 hours. When they discovered that Yi Qinfeng's life soul stone was still intact, they were completely relieved. They tore apart the distortion power in the void and flew into the terrifying spatial whirlpool. What a terrifying spatial distortion power! When they forcefully passed through the spatial whirlpool, the Marquis of Qianming and the others discovered that the spatial whirlpool's distortion power was beyond their imagination. Even with their strength, they still felt immense pressure. Suddenly, an expert from the EC Palace, who didn't have a strong physical body, couldn't withstand the spatial distortion power and let out a painful cry. His entire body was forcefully crushed, and he died on the spot. This spatial whirlpool is very dangerous. You guys wait outside and don't go in. Seeing that the expert from the EC Palace had been crushed into minced meat, the Marquis of Qianming's expression changed slightly. He shouted loudly and endured the terrifying spatial distortion power with old Zhe as they rushed into the spatial whirlpool. Mo Fengyan, where did your disciple come from? How could he have such a strong physical body? Yu Gu and the others were shocked when they saw that a level 3 Beast Emperor expert from the EC Palace was torn apart by the spatial whirlpool. However, Yi Qinfeng was able to withstand the spatial distortion power and enter the spatial whirlpool. Mo Fengyan casually made up a lie. My disciple has an indestructible diamond body, and his defense is comparable to a level 4 Beast Emperor. That's why the spatial whirlpool couldn't kill him. How could there be such a physique? Yu Gu and the others looked at each other and questioned. The world is full of wonders. When I saw Xian Shu, I was also shocked by his physique. Otherwise, I wouldn't have accepted him as my last disciple, Mo Fengyan slowly explained. Hearing Mo Fengyan's explanation, Yu Gu felt even more vexed. He was vexed that Yi Qinfeng was chosen by the Marquis of Qianming, causing the Yu family to miss out on a great genius. As the God-Eater brain continued to evolve, its deduction ability also increased. After more than an hour, the 5 elemental runes contained in the 5 elemental steel were imprinted in the brain of the God-Eater brain. This speed of imprinting exceeded Yi Qinfeng's expectations. When the God-Eater brain was imprinting the 5 elemental runes, it felt the power of the forbidden runes in the 5 elemental steel. It also vaguely felt that there was a bloodline suppressed under the soul suppressing steel. Could this be the suppressing steel? Yi Qinfeng muttered to himself. He felt that the existence of this 5 elemental steel should have some other special meaning. The God-Eater brain broke the forbidden runes. The reason why the 5 elemental steel was so heavy had a lot to do with the forbidden runes hidden in the steel. Yi Qinfeng controlled the God-Eater brain to forcefully break the forbidden runes in the 5 elemental runes. He wanted to see what was suppressed under the soul-suppressing steel. Crack! Under the God-Eater brain's all-out effort, the forbidden runes hidden in the 5 elemental steel were constantly broken. Slowly, the power released by the God-Eater brain seeped into the 5 elemental steel and found a drop of golden blood that had been suppressed for countless years. Golden blood. What kind of person's bloodline had golden blood? Although Yi Qinfeng couldn't sense the true state of this drop of golden blood because of the 5 elemental steel suppression, he had a feeling that this drop of golden blood was no small matter. Its value was beyond imagination. Everyone come out. With a thought, Yi Qinfeng summoned the chaos divine beast, the spirit fish, and the others. With everyone's help, he pulled out the 5 elemental steel. More than half of the 5 elemental steel's restrictions were broken by the God-Eater brain. The Tao steel's restriction power was greatly reduced. With everyone's help, the 5 elemental steel was pulled out bit by bit, revealing a gap. An abnormally terrifying bloodline power spread out from the gap of the 5 elemental steel. The drop of golden blood that was suppressed by the steel became restless. Chaos Divine would suppress. Seeing that the 5 elemental steel suppression was gone, the drop of golden blood broke free. Yi Qinfeng summoned the Chaos Divine Wood and released the light of chaos to suppress the drop of golden blood. When the Chaos Divine would suppress the drop of golden blood, the restless drop of golden blood suddenly calmed down. It didn't resist and allowed the Chaos Divine Wood to swallow it. Mobile reading site. Book address. In order to facilitate your next reading, you can click on the Collect button below to record your reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1042. This golden blood droplet was suppressed so easily. The Chaos Divine would suppress the golden blood droplet effortlessly, which surprised Yi Qinfeng. Could it be? Yi Qinfeng raised his eyebrows and wanted to study this golden blood droplet. His powerful soul energy sensed the aura of the Marquis of Qianming and Old Zhe. He immediately put the Chaos Divine Wood, the Spirit Fish, and the others into the universe realm and purposely fell into the dense swarm of blood-sucking bugs. He let out a weak cry for help and allowed the extremely ferocious blood-sucking bugs to suck his blood to create an illusion. The cry for help was from that Xianshu. When they heard the extremely weak cry for help in the pitch-black space, the Marquis of Qianming and Old Zhe suddenly sped up and flew over. With the help of the moonstones floating above their heads, they saw Yi Qinfeng being swallowed by the swarm of blood-sucking bugs with half of his body exposed and struggling in pain. Heavenly fire heart flame, burn. The Marquis of Qianming opened his mouth and spewed out scorching heavenly fire. It burned the thousands of blood-sucking bugs, burning their bodies and annihilating them. Meanwhile, Old Zhe flew over and condensed a Tao intent giant hand. He grabbed Yi Qinfeng, who was half swallowed by the blood-sucking bugs and seemed to be on the verge of death, and directly pulled him out from the swarm of blood-sucking bugs. What was that? After saving Yi Qinfeng, the Marquis of Qianming's powerful soul energy sensed the existence of the 5-element tablet. He released the heavenly fire heart flame to burn the blood-sucking bugs that were swarming over while he approached Old Zhe, who was carrying Yi Qinfeng. 5-element Tao tablet. The Marquis of Qianming was overjoyed when he sensed the 5-element Tao intent contained in the Tao tablet. Although he had cultivated the thunder Tao intent to perfection and condensed the thunder Tao diagram, he didn't have a deep understanding of the 5-element Tao intent. If he could obtain this 5-element Tao tablet, he would be able to comprehend the 5-element Tao intent and deepen his strength. He would be able to build a solid foundation to survive the world-extinguishing heavenly punishment and break into nirvana. Rise! The Marquis of Qianming shouted and condensed the sky-splitting hand. He grabbed the 5-element Tao tablet and wanted to pull it out from the ground. However, even a chaos divine beast with a strength of more than 200 million Jin could not pull this 5 elements Tao tablet out, let alone him. The Marquis of Qianming and Old Zhe tried everything they could, but they were unable to uproot the 5 elemental steel. Helpless, they abandoned Yi Qin Feng under the 5 elemental steel and began to comprehend the 5 elemental patterns contained within the 5 elemental steel. Although the Marquis of Qianming and Old Zhe didn't have a heaven-defying item like the God-Eater brain, they were still great figures who had challenged the heaven domain's almighty figures. Their talents were extremely high. They sat under the 5 elemental steel and studied it for 3 days and 3 nights. They comprehended the dozens of 5 elemental inscriptions contained within the 5 elemental steel and cultivated the 5 elemental intents to the 4th heavenly layer. Marquis, should we abandon this burden here or take him to explore the space? Old Zhe asked. On account of Mo Fengyun's contribution, we will save his disciple this time. The Marquis of Qianming glanced at Yi Qin Feng, who seemed to have lost too much blood and was unconscious, and said slowly, "Okay." Old Zhe nodded and summoned a spider puppet. It carried Yi Qin Feng and continued to explore this pitch-black space with him. They spent more than a day searching through this space. Other than finding the 5 elemental steel and tens of thousands of blood-sucking bugs, they found nothing. Let's go. It seems like the 5 elemental steel is the only opportunity in this space. The Marquis of Qianming and Old Zhe didn't waste too much time. They took Yi Qin Feng and left this pitch-black space. They forcefully passed through the space whirlpool and appeared outside. When the 3 of them left the space whirlpool, the 3 space whirlpools strangely disappeared. Xian Shu seeing Yi Qin Feng, who was squeezed by the space whirlpool and covered in blood, being brought out by Old Zhe, Mo Fengyun's heart tightened. He immediately flew over and asked anxiously, "Don't worry, he won't die." Old Zhe handed Yi Qin Feng to Mo Fengyun and said, "But this kid is really strong. Even such a terrifying space whirlpool couldn't crush him. In time, this kid's future is limitless." "Marquis, what is in the space whirlpool?" The level 9 heavenly beast golden lion asked curiously. It wanted to know what kind of opportunity was hidden in the space whirlpool. There is only one 5 elemental steel inside. There is no other opportunity. The Marquis of Qianming said faintly. Although the harvest was not much, the Marquis of Qianming and Old Zhe were quite satisfied with the 5 elemental steel's cultivation to the 4th heavenly layer. Okay, let's not waste any more time. Let's move on. After speaking, the Marquis of Qianming didn't stay here for long. He continued to lead everyone into the abyss of hell. Yi Qin Feng seemed to be severely injured and unconscious. Mo Fengyun summoned his contract beast, the scarlet bloodbat, and carried Yi Qin Feng, who was pretending to be unconscious but was actually controlling the God-Eater brain to deduce the 5 elemental steel's Tao. 9 heavens of the 5 elemental steel after nearly a day of deduction and comprehension. While the Marquis of Qianming and the others were fighting fiercely with a large number of dead souls, Yi Qin Feng comprehended the 5 elemental steel's Tao to the 9th heavenly layer. After another day or so, Yi Qin Feng completely comprehended the 5 elemental steel engraved in his soul C under the full power of the God-Eater brain's deduction. He cultivated the 5 elemental steel to the perfection stage as he wished and condensed a mysterious 5 elemental steel in his soul C. After cultivating for more than 30 years, Yi Qin Feng had become a 4th-grade beast emperor, cultivated the Tao will of sword, the Tao will of 5 elements, and the Tao will of life and death to the great perfection realm, and condensed the 3 great Tao diagrams. In the long history of the Duhan continent, there had never been such a stunning talent like him. Only in the vaster heaven domain could such a genius be born. After cultivating the 5 elemental steel to the perfection stage, Yi Qin Feng still pretended to be unconscious and began to use his mind to study the drop of golden blood that was swallowed by the chaos divine wood. Strange. Why does this drop of golden blood give me a familiar feeling? Could it be that this drop of golden blood is related to my background? When Yi Qin Feng was studying the drop of golden blood, he felt that the drop of golden blood was connected to his bloodline, as if this drop of blood belonged to him. With this feeling, Yi Chen-feng suppressed the excitement in his heart and continued to study this drop of golden blood. Suddenly, the temperature in the air dropped again. A majestic and tall ice palace appeared before everyone's eyes. It was as if it was carved out of a block of ice. There were coiling dragon pillars erected on top of it. It occupied a space of dozens of miles and emitted rays of cold light. It gave people a shocking feeling. Ice palace. Why is there an ice palace here? Looking at the majestic ice palace in front of them, the eyes of the Marquis of Qianming and the others lit up. They all flew over, wanting to rush into the ice palace. However, when they got close to the ice palace, cold pillars suddenly rose from the surroundings of the ice palace and shot into the sky. In the next moment, a frost array diagram that was 1 mile wide appeared in the sky above the ice palace. It spilled out densely packed array patterns and formed an extremely powerful frost array. It enveloped the ice palace and blocked everyone outside the array. Mobile reading site. Book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the bookmark button below to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1043. What a mysterious icy formation. As Master Lu Yin looked at the ice formation before him, which was covered in formation patterns and gave off a vigorous aura, his eyes burned with fervor and competitiveness. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement, test. More than 1,000 supreme-grade formation flags flew out of his body and fluttered above his head. They quickly evolved into a powerful offensive formation. The formation rotated and released thousands of formation inscriptions to attack the icy formation. Boom! Under the attack of the offensive formation controlled by Master Lu Yin, the icy formation that enveloped the ice palace trembled violently. Ice formation inscriptions flowed and collided with the offensive formation in the air, causing a loud noise. At this time, Yi Chen-feng stopped studying the drop of golden blood and pretended to wake up from his coma. He looked at the ice palace that was enveloped in the icy formation. Marquis, Old Zay, this icy formation is very powerful. Please lend me a hand. Master Lu Yin continued to evolve the formation. After attacking for more than an hour, he gradually could not withstand the attack of the icy formation. The supreme-grade formation flags broke one by one, which put him under great pressure. He had to ask Marquis Qianming and Old Zay for help. Okay, Marquis Qianming and Old Zay also had a certain level of attainment in formations. They struck out formation inscriptions and integrated them into the offensive formation. They forcibly stabilized the offensive formation that was constantly cracking and increased the power of the formation to attack the icy formation. Under the joint deduction of Marquis Qianming and Old Zay, the power of the offensive formation continued to increase. It gradually resisted the icy formation and fought fiercely in the void. Mo Fengyan attacked that node. Under the deduction of the God-Eater brain, Yi Chen-feng locked onto a weak node of the icy formation and transmitted a message to Mo Fengyan. Yes, Mo Fengyan's pupils shrank. He locked onto the space node and summoned the ghost-killing formation map to attack it. Boom! Under the attack of the formation inscriptions released by the ghost-killing formation map, a large number of formation inscriptions were torn. The weak space node trembled violently and cracks spread rapidly. Break! Master Lu Yin did not miss this excellent opportunity. He controlled the offensive formation to attack the node that was constantly cracking. He blasted a huge hole in the icy formation and greatly weakened the power of the icy formation. Devil Wind and Cloud. Attack 3 meters to the northwest. The God-Eater brain deduced another spatial node. Yi Chen-feng immediately told Mo Fengyan to attack it. Boom! Under the attack of Mo Fengyan's ghost-killing array, the northwest part of the Great Ice Array once again cracked. Master Lu Yin and the other two seized the opportunity and controlled the great ice array to destroy it in one fell swoop. The great ice formation was broken one after another, directly damaging the base of the formation. Several pillars of cold light that shot up into the sky were shattered, and the power of the great ice formation plummeted. Mo Fengyin attacked the array core with all his might. Yi Qinfeng transmitted the location of the array core to Mo Fengyin via voice transmission, asking him to continue attacking. The array core was continuously attacked by the ghost-killing array diagrams, and the cold light pillars were damaged one after another. At this time, under the attack of the ghost-killing array, Master Luyin also found the location of the array center and controlled the killing array to attack with full force. Finally, a crisp cracking sound rang out. The ice pillars around the ice palace shattered, and the ice array gradually disappeared into the void. Mo Fengyin, I didn't expect you to be so proficient in array formations. Master Luyin looked at Mo Fengyin and said slowly, "If we have time, how about we exchange our understanding of array formations?" If Mo Fengyin hadn't broken the nodes of the array twice and found the array core, they would have to spend more time and effort to break the great ice formation. Good, if you have the chance, please consult Master Luyin. Mo Fengyin nodded and said casually, "Let's go in and see what's in this ice palace." As he spoke, Yi Qinfeng and the others faced the cold air that was enough to freeze an ordinary beast emperor to death and flew to the ice palace gate that was nearly 100 meters high. The palace gate was so tall. Standing under the huge palace gate that was inlaid with two beast heads, Yi Qinfeng felt small, as if he had come to the world of giants. Jin Shi, Barbarian Bull, pushed the gate. Marquis Qianming summoned the demon snake seal and ordered the two level 9 heavenly beasts to push the tall palace gate. Battle formed the door of the ice palace was incomparably heavy. Golden Lion and Barbarian Bull transformed into their strongest battle form. They stimulated all the demon energy in their body and pushed the door with all their might. The ice on the surface of the beast head palace cracked as they forcefully pushed the door open. A strong and ancient cold air filled the air from the gap. The cold air was so strong that it directly froze the two heavenly beasts into ice sculptures. Heavenly fire heart flame, burn. Marquis Qianming spat out a scorching heavenly fire, melting the ice on Jin Shi and Barbarian Bull. The ancient cold air burned and whistled. Ao ao! The ice melted, and Jin Shi and Barbarian Bull let out a shocking roar. Their bucket-sized arms burst out with shocking strength and pushed the gate open, opening a gap that was more than 1/2 meter long. "Xian Shu, we have protected you for so long. Shouldn't you help us explore the dangers inside?" Sakuraji's charming eyes revealed a cold light. She looked at Yi Qinfeng, who was not far away, and said maliciously, "Sai, if you are afraid of death, then don't come." What a joke to be so timid. Yi Qinfeng sighed softly and ridiculed. Then, without waiting for Juing to get angry, he walked into the dark, low-temperature ice palace with the ancient cold air that had become much thinner. "Brat, just you wait. Sooner or later, I will let you die in my hands." Sakuraji gritted her teeth and swore in her heart. The more she looked at Yi Qinfeng, the more she disliked him. "Come on, let's go in too." Sensing that Yi Qinfeng was fine, Marquis Qianming and the others did not waste any more time and walked into the ice palace. With the help of the moonstones floating above Yi Qinfeng's head, they could see the true appearance of the entire ice palace. Medicine furnace, a medicine furnace. Although the entire ice palace was built in an imposing manner with coiling dragon pillars made of extraordinary materials, and the floor was paved with expensive white jade, everyone's attention was attracted by a fiery red medicine furnace with two lifelike fire phoenixes carved on it. It floated above an ancient array. Blocked by the ancient array, everyone could not detect the quality of the medicine furnace. However, at first glance, everyone could feel that it was extraordinary. This medicine furnace could not be a sacred weapon, right? Marquis Qian Ming's eyes lit up as he looked at the medicine furnace in the distance and revealed an excited expression. Although the Kirin kingdom also had sacred weapons, every sacred weapon was a national treasure. With Marquis Qian Ming's status, he could not come into contact with them. If he could obtain a sacred weapon, he was 100% sure that he could survive the world-ending heavenly punishment and break through to nirvana. He would be promoted to a prince of the Kirin kingdom and have great power. Moreover, he felt that the medicine furnace in front of him might be nurturing an ancient elixir. If he did not smell the scent of death from the ancient array around the medicine furnace, he would have rushed over and subdued this suspected sacred weapon furnace. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1044. Flowing Light Array with a Thought from Master Luyin. 999 supreme-grade formation flags flew out of his body and formed a large formation above his head. They turned into streams of light and attacked the ancient formation around the medicinal cauldron like a rapidly flowing galaxy. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement, test the flowing light array was one of the 3 ancient arrays controlled by Master Luyin. It was very powerful. However, when the streams of flowing light hit the ancient array around the furnace, it was like a stone sinking into the sea. There wasn't even a ripple. Reversing flowing light, Array Master Lu Yin raised his eyebrows slightly. He spat a few mouthfuls of blood essence into the flowing light array at all costs. He forcefully reversed the flowing light array and increased its power to attack the ancient array. After being attacked by the reversing flowing light array, the ancient array around the furnace started to tremble. A large number of light runes that looked like they were made of ice appeared and floated in the ancient array. They flickered with cold light and froze the reversing flowing light array. What a powerful array! After witnessing the power of the ancient array, Master Luyin found it even more difficult to deal with. However, he didn't give up. He summoned all the array flags he had and created a powerful array to attack the ancient array. He wanted to use the array to break the ancient array. However, the ancient array around the furnace was too powerful. It was far more powerful than the flowing light array outside. Even when Master Luyin created the offensive array to the extreme, he still couldn't shake it. Mo Fengyin, can you find the breaking point of this ancient array? The Marquis of Qianming saw that Master Luyin was having a hard time breaking the array. He looked at Mo Fengyin, who seemed to have an extraordinary array attainment, and asked softly, "Let me try." Mo Fengyin sat cross-legged on the ground and released a powerful soul power. He seemed to be deducing the truth of this ancient array. Mo Fengyin pretended to be deducing the truth of the ancient array. Yi Qinfeng, who was standing at the back, was really controlling the God-Eater brain to deduce the powerful ancient array in front of him. He was looking for an opportunity to break the array. "Marquis, Old Zay, this ancient array is too powerful. You need to help me." Beads of sweat appeared on Master Luyin's forehead. He was exhausted and felt dizzy. He had to ask for help. "All right. For the sake of obtaining this medicinal furnace that was suspected to be a saint artifact," the Marquis of Qianming and Elder Zay sat cross-legged on Master Luyin's left and right respectively. They controlled their soul energy and Tao insights to ceaselessly form numerous formation markings that fused into the Grand Offensive Formation and increased the might of the Grand Offensive Formation. As the power of the Grand Slaughtering Formation continued to increase, the repulsion between the Grand Slaughtering Formation and the Ancient Formation became more and more intense. Looking from afar, cold light shot out in all directions, rippling the void. After attacking for more than 2 hours without any effect, Master Luyin quickly took out 108 silver needles from his universe ring and pierced them into the 108 acupoints on his body, forcibly stimulating his body's potential and releasing a large amount of blood. 9 demons formation in the next moment. He fused all the blood he released into the thousands of formation flags, activating the power of the formation flags and forming the first ancient formation that he had mastered after nearly 100 years of research. A large number of formation runes transformed into 9 faintly discernible ancient demons that roared into the sky. Everyone attack with me. Let's see if we can break the formation by force. Master Lu Yin, whose face was pale without a trace of blood, shouted loudly. After saying that, his hands quickly twisted and formed several complicated hand seals. He controlled the 9 terrifying ancient demons and attacked the ancient formation that enveloped the medicine furnace. Demon Snake Seal, Yin Yang Chessboard, Sea God Statue. The moment Master Lu Yin controlled the 9 demons formation to attack, the Marquis of Qianming, Hemingway Map, and the others controlled their respective Dao treasures and Gu Dao treasure to attack as well. They erupted with earth-shattering power and forcefully broke the formation. Under the joint attack of everyone, the ancient formation suddenly went berserk. A large number of ice-light talismans flowed in all directions, freezing everything. They forcibly froze the 9 great ancient demons, several Dao treasures, and Gu Dao treasure in midair, neutralizing the ferocious attack. Demon Snake Seal return. Witnessing the scene of the Demon Snake Seal being frozen, the Marquis of Qianming immediately forcefully summoned the Demon Snake Seal, wanting to shatter the ice and summon it back. However, the cold air released by the ice-light talismans was too terrifying. Whether it was the Demon Snake Seal or the Yin Yang chessboard, they were all frozen. No matter how the Marquis of Qianming, Old Zay, and the others tried to summon them, they could not summon them back. 9 great ancient demons explode. Master Lu Yin's expression changed slightly. He forcefully self-detonated the 9 great ancient demons and used the powerful force of the explosion to shatter the ice. However, the power of the ice-light talismans floating in the ancient formation was too terrifying. The self-detonation of the 9 great ancient demons was still unable to shatter the ice that froze the Dao treasure, Gu Dao treasure. Puff! The self-detonation of the 9 great ancient demons caused Master Lu Yin to immediately suffer a soul power backlash. A large amount of blood spurted out from his mouth, and the meridians in his body were severely damaged. Heavenly Domain Formation. This ancient formation should have come from the hands of a heavenly domain almighty. Master Lu Yin wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and was shocked. What should we do? If we can't break this ancient formation, not to mention the medicine furnace, even our Dao treasure, Gu Dao treasure, will be abandoned here. The Marquis of Qianming said with a frown, I'm thinking of a way to study this ancient formation and see if there's a way to break it. Master Lu Yin gave up on the idea of forcefully breaking the ancient formation. He sat cross-legged outside the ancient formation that was emitting waves of cold air. As he healed his injuries, he released his soul power to study the ancient formation. The Marquis of Qianming and the others tried several times but failed to retrieve their respective Dao treasures. Gu Dao treasure had no choice but to give up and wait for Master Lu Yin to figure out a way to break the ancient formation. Time was also waiting, and it quickly passed by. While Master Lu Yin was studying the ancient formation, Yi Qinfeng was also controlling the God-Eater brain. After nearly 10 days of comprehension, a large number of formation patterns appeared in the God-Eater brain. These formation patterns were similar to the formation patterns in the ancient formation. Ancient Ice Sky, Vast Formation. He didn't expect the God-Eater brain to have the inherited memories of the ancient Ice Sky, Vast Formation. The ancient Ice Sky, Vast Formation was passed down by the demon race of the Heaven region. It was one of the ancient formations passed down by the demon race. When he comprehended the ancient formation in front of him, part of the God-Eater brain's memories were awakened. This made Yi Qinfeng overjoyed. He combined the God-Eater brain's memories to find a way to break the formation. Soon, the God-Eater brain deduced the way to set up the ancient Ice Sky array and found a way to control the ancient formation. He wondered if he could kill the Marquis of Qianming and the others with the help of the ancient ice sky array. Being with the Marquis of Qianming and the others made Yi Qinfeng gradually lose his patience. If not for the fact that Yi Qinfeng was not completely confident that he could kill them all, he would have summoned the Chaos Divine Beast to kill them all. But now, Yi Qinfeng had a way to control the extremely powerful ancient ice sky array. With the power of this ancient formation, he was completely capable of killing the Marquis of Qianming and the others. Through the soul search, he could obtain the great secret of the abyss of hell. After about a day or so, the God-Eater brain's power silently seeped into the ancient ice sky barrier formation. After trying a few times, Yi Qinfeng slowly gained control of the formation patterns that filled the ancient ice sky barrier formation. He started trying to control the formation core. As long as he controlled the array core, the ancient ice sky array would be under his control. 9 demon formation, just as Yi Qinfeng was using the God-Eater brain's power to control the ancient ice sky array's array core. Master Luyan, who had been deducing for more than 10 days, suddenly opened his eyes. He stimulated his own potential and released a large amount of blood. He set up the 9 demon formation again and attacked the 3 weak nodes of the ancient ice sky array. This caused the ancient ice sky array to tremble violently, allowing the Marquis of Qianming and the others to retrieve the frozen Dao treasure, the Gu Dao treasure. He was indeed a famous array master in the Kirin Kingdom. His attainments in array formations were indeed terrifying. Seeing the cracks in the ancient ice sky array, Yi Qinfeng could not help but have a higher opinion of Master Luyan. Great, this ancient formation is about to be broken. Seeing the cracks in the ancient ice sky array, the Marquis of Qianming and the others were pleasantly surprised. But as they were overjoyed and waiting, Yi Qinfeng controlled the God-Eater brain to slowly control the ancient ice sky array's array core. He secretly controlled this ancient formation. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1045. What are you waiting for? Let's attack the cracks of the ancient formation together and break it. Seeing more and more cracks on the ancient ice sky array, Marquis Qianming and the rest immediately summoned their Dao artifacts and flew into the sky. They used their powerful Dao techniques to attack the ancient formation. The ancient ice sky array is not so easy to break. Although cracks appeared on the ancient ice sky array, Yi Qinfeng, who was controlling the ancient formation, knew that they had only broken 3 layers of restrictions. If they wanted to completely break the ancient formation, they would need to break another 3 layers of restrictions. However, Yi Qinfeng intended to exhaust their soul power and did not control the ancient ice sky array to counterattack. He sat cross-legged in the most inconspicuous place and waited patiently. Everyone's attacks became more and more intense. The Dao techniques that filled the sky only caused a large number of cracks to appear on the ancient formation, but they could not shake the foundation of the ancient ice sky array. As time passed, Marquis Qianming, Old Zhe, and the rest became more and more exhausted. Master Luyan was so exhausted that he could no longer control the 9 demons array. Just as Marquis Qianming and the rest had no choice but to give up, the ancient ice sky array that was full of cracks suddenly emitted a cold light. A large number of icy light talismans were like dancing butterflies. They released a tidal wave of cold air and suddenly flew towards the shocked Marquis Qianming and the rest, quickly gathered together. Although Marquis Qianming and the rest could not figure out why the ancient ice sky array suddenly counterattacked, they quickly gathered together and summoned their respective treasures to guard against any possible danger. Quite alert, Yi Qinfeng, who was sitting cross-legged and motionless outside the demon-vanquishing storm, smiled coldly as he watched the Marquis of Qianming and the others working together to defend. He controlled the God-Eater brain to quickly deduce and activate the power of the ancient ice sky array, freezing the entire space. Ka, 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 a large amount of ice spread in the space, and the entire space was frozen. The bone-chilling cold air kept invading the bodies of Marquis, Qianming, and the rest, freezing them. Heavenly Fire Heart, Flame Marquis, Qianming's body, was frozen. He controlled the heavenly fire to melt the ice and dispel the cold air that invaded his body. Old Zay, the 2 level 9 heavenly beasts, Hemingway Map, and the others all unleashed their most powerful techniques to resist the cold, tearing apart the ice in an attempt to escape. However, the cold air released by the frosty light talisman in the ancient ice vast array was too terrifying. In an instant, the 3 level 3 beast emperors were completely frozen by the cold air, turning into 3 lifelike ice sculptures. Raging Flame Array Master Lu Yin, who had expended a lot of energy, took out a great Tao pill covered in black markings from his universe ring and swallowed it. Borrowing the strong medicinal energy of this medicinal pill, a faint flush appeared on Master Lu Yin's pale face. He controlled a large number of supreme-grade formation flags and turned them into a blazing flame formation, enveloping everyone. Just as everyone was using all their skills to defend against the frost light talisman, Yi Qinfeng, who was sitting cross-legged, suddenly stood up, shocking everyone present. How could this be? How could he ignore the attacks of the ancient, boundless ice formation and not die? How did he do it? Looking at Yi Qinfeng moving freely in the ancient ice, heavenly expanse formation, Marquis, Qianming, and the others were dumbfounded, revealing looks of disbelief. This Xian Shu was strange. At this time, everyone could see that there was something wrong with Yi Qinfeng. His strength was definitely not as low as he appeared, otherwise he would not be able to resist the ancient ice heavenly expanse formation. Xian Shu, I ask you, did you kill Jiangshan? Sakuraji looked at Yi Qinfeng, who was full of strangeness, and felt more and more that Hai Jiangshan's death had something to do with him. So what can you do to me? Yi Qinfeng smiled coldly, looking at the angry Sakuraji, and asked calmly, Little bastard, Jiangshan was killed by you. Hai Jiangshan glared at Yi Qinfeng with his blood-red eyes, like an angry body. His eyes were spitting fire as he looked at Yi Qinfeng, wishing he could tear him into pieces. Why, are you angry? Yi Qinfeng sneered, looking at the angry Hemingway Map, and said, I really don't want to tell you, but I also killed Hai Sanjian. What do you mean you also killed Sanjian? You are Yi Qinfeng. Hearing Yi Qinfeng's words, Hemingway Map, Yu Chan, and the others were shocked. They widened their eyes, unable to believe that the person in front of them was Yi Qinfeng. You are very smart. Yi Qinfeng smiled faintly and admitted straightforwardly. He was going to subdue the medicine furnace and kill Marquis, Qianming, and the others with the help of the ancient ice heavenly expanse formation. So he did not hide his identity. Yi Qinfeng, did you also kill Jili? Yu Yuan looked at Yi Qinfeng viciously and asked coldly, Yes, not only did I kill you, Jili, but I also killed Hai Pingyang, and I also got the treasure in the space vortex. Yi Qinfeng admitted with a smile, Yi Qinfeng, I swear I will crush your bones and scatter your ashes to avenge Julie. Yu Yuan said with murderous intent, Well, save your energy. Yi Qinfeng said mockingly, If I were you, I would not think about how to avenge those trash, but how to get out of here alive. Good spirit, good spirit. You played us like a fool. Marquis Qianming's eyes flashed with cold light and said, But do you think you can threaten our lives by yourself? Nothing is absolute in this world. As he spoke, Yi Qinfeng's hands moved quickly and made many complicated hand signs. The formation patterns merged into the ancient ice heavenly expanse formation, further increasing the power of the ancient formation. Once again, a large number of icy light talismans attacked Hemingway Map and the others. How is it possible? How can you control this ancient formation? Seeing Yi Qinfeng make the same formation patterns as the ancient ice heavenly expanse formation, Master Liu Yun's heart was in turmoil. He lost his composure and exclaimed, "Why is it difficult?" Yi Qinfeng showed a proud smile and said, "Enjoy it slowly. Let's see how long you can live. Little be asterisk starred. You will die a horrible death. You will not have a good ending." Sakuraji's pupils shrank horribly. Like a shrew, she kept cursing Yi Qinfeng. Chi. More than 10 sharp sword lights flashed through the ancient ice heavenly expanse formation, swallowing and spitting out sharp light. They attacked Sakuraji at an extremely fast speed. Suddenly attacked by Yi Qinfeng, Sakuraji instinctively wanted to block, but the ancient ice heavenly expanse formation was too powerful. A large amount of cold air greatly restricted Sakuraji's movement. When Sakuraji tried to block with all her strength, more than 10 sword lights flashed through her body. The long dress made of silk on her body was torn apart, revealing her skin as white as jade. There was not a single blemish on it, revealing a beautiful body that was fatally tempting. Her clothes were torn apart by Yi Qinfeng. Sakuraji's face turned red. She screamed and quickly covered her sensitive parts with her hands. "I didn't expect you to take good care of yourself. You are so old, but you take care of yourself like a little girl." Yi Qinfeng looked at the panicked Sakuraji and said jokingly, "Look if you want. Don't hide it. If you don't look, I'm afraid you won't be able to see it in the future." "Yi Qinfeng, I'm not done with you." Sakuraji had never been humiliated like this. Her eyes turned red as she roared with grief and anger. "Wait until you are alive to leave here." After that, Yi Qinfeng ignored Sakuraji, Marquis Qianming and the others. He took Mo Fengyin and quickly traveled through the ancient ice heavenly expanse formation. Soon, they arrived at the floating medicine furnace that was covered with ancient patterns and exuded an ancient aura. Mobile reading site, book address. To make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click the Collect button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1046. What a terrifying aura. What level of treasure was this elixir furnace? Watermark advertisement. Test watermark advertisement. Testy Qinfeng looked at the medicine cauldron that had 2 ears and 3 legs. It was about 1 meter tall, and its body was engraved with flowers, birds, fish, and insects. It was so lifelike that Yi Qinfeng felt an unimaginable power being released from the medicine cauldron, as if it came from ancient times. He could only feel such a terrifying power when he was in the strongest power of the 9 dragon jade annulus. Could this elixir furnace be a supreme grade, sacred treasure like the 9 dragon jade annulus? Yi Qinfeng was looking forward to this elixir furnace. If he could subdue it, it would definitely be a terrifying trump card. Like the Marquis of Qianming, he felt that this elixir furnace might be nurturing an unimaginable elixir pill. 5 elements Tao diagram. 5 elements hand with a thought from Yi Qinfeng. 105 elemental Tao patterns shot out from his body and condensed into a 5 elemental diagram. Then they transformed into a huge hand that covered the sky and grabbed the medicine furnace that was floating in midair. Kathy moment, the 5 elements hand grabbed the elixir furnace. The elixir furnace trembled slightly. A terrifying vibrating power was transmitted into the 5 elements hand, directly shattering the 5 elements Tao diagram. Sacred artifact. This elixir furnace was definitely a sacred artifact. If it could shatter the 5 elements hand so easily, it was definitely a sacred artifact. However, it wasn't easy to subdue a sacred artifact. Yi Qinfeng kept thinking of ways. While Yi Qinfeng was thinking, the Marquis of Qianming and the others were in big trouble. The number of icy light talismans in the ancient ice vast sky array was increasing. gradually extinguishing the raging flame array. The billowing cold air kept corroding their bodies, freezing them and damaging their meridians and organs. Soon, the 3 holy lands had casualties. Even an expert from the Kirin kingdom couldn't resist the cold air corrosion in the ancient ice vast sky array. His entire body was frozen into an ice sculpture. His life force was completely frozen, and he died. Skyfire heart flames melt, seeing the raging flame array extinguished. The Marquis of Qianming controlled the Skyfire heart flames and injected it into the raging flame array, increasing its power and resisting the corrosion of a large number of icy light talismans. The chessboard of yin and yang, just relying on the raging flame formation and the heavenly fire heart flame, was not enough to stop the erosion of the cold air. Old Zhe continuously spat out a few mouthfuls of blood into the yin-yang chessboard, activating the power of the chessboard. It turned into 2 yin and yang fishes that circled above their heads, pouring down the power of yin and yang to resist the cold air. At this moment of life and death, Yu Gu, Hemingway Map, and the others didn't hold back. They all used their trump cards to resist the cold and tried their best to leave this place. At this time, after discovering that the ancient ice vast sky formation was controlled by Yi Qinfeng, they no longer hoped to obtain the medicinal furnace. They only hoped to leave this place alive and slowly settle the score with Yi Qinfeng in the future. However, under the attack of several thousand frostlight talismans, the Marquis of Qianming and the others found it difficult to move. Every single step they took required an enormous amount of energy, and in the process of moving, there were people who lost their lives under the attack of the frostlight talismans. They were frozen into ice sculptures and lost their vitality. Yi Qinfeng, if I don't die, I'll definitely kill you no matter where you go. Under the tremendous pressure, the Marquis of Qianming looked at Yi Qinfeng under the cauldron as he muttered to himself through gritted teeth. Drip blood to claim ownership. After a moment of thought, Yi Qinfeng suddenly bit his finger and forced out a large amount of essence, blood, into the cauldron. He tried to forcefully claim ownership of it. However, when Yi Qinfeng's essence blood fused into the cauldron, a scorching energy was released from the cauldron, instantly melting his essence blood and denying him the chance to claim ownership. However, Yi Qinfeng did not give up. He continued to squeeze out large amounts of essence blood into the cauldron, trying to forcefully claim ownership of it. However, at this moment, the cauldron began to hum gently, and the vibration became louder and louder. Balls of extremely dangerous, dark gray flames emerged from the cauldron, turning into slowly blooming flowers of fire that attacked Yi Qinfeng. Dual polar ancient heavenly water. As large amounts of flowers of fire attacked, Yi Qinfeng immediately controlled the dual pole ancient heavenly water to counter the attack, restraining the flowers of fire. However, when the dual pole ancient heavenly water, which was close to the power of sacred water, came into contact with the flowers of fire, large amounts of water vapor were immediately released. The water vapor was constantly evaporated by the flowers of fire, unable to withstand the attacks of the flowers of fire. Could this be the sacred fire? Seeing the dual polarity ancient heavenly water being continuously evaporated by the flowers of flames, Yi Qinfeng immediately released the purple beginnings holy thunder to attack. Finally, the flowers of flames were shattered one by one, turning into a large amount of sparks in midair, slowly disappearing into the void. What kind of cauldron was this? It actually contained flames that were comparable to the sacred fire. Wasn't it too terrifying? Yi Qinfeng looked at the cauldron with lingering fear and felt that it was getting more and more troublesome. Since forcefully claiming ownership of the cauldron with blood was unable to subdue the cauldron, Yi Qinfeng could only think of other methods. After a moment of deep thought, Yi Qinfeng suddenly sat cross-legged under the cauldron, controlling the God-Eater brain to understand the tool patterns in the cauldron. If the God-Eater brain could understand the tool patterns in the cauldron, it might be able to find a way to subdue the cauldron. Buzz, buzz, buzz under the God-Eater brain's full deduction. a large amount of tool patterns appeared in Yi Qinfeng's soul sea. These tool patterns were exactly the same as the ones in the cauldron. However, the cauldron contained too many tool patterns. Even if the God-Eater brain's deduction ability was heaven-defying, it was still unable to comprehend these tool patterns in a short period of time. Soon, more than 6 hours had passed. In these 6 hours, the Marquis of Qianming and the rest were constantly tested by life and death. If it wasn't for their numerous trump cards and extraordinary strength, they would have already been frozen to death by the ancient ice vast array. However, even with the protection of treasures, there were still people from the Kirin Kingdom and the 3 Holy Lands who were constantly losing their lives. Slowly, all the experts below Class 5 Combat Beast Emperor died. This time, out of the 70-plus people who entered the abyss of hell, only the Marquis of Qianming, Old Zay, and a dozen others were left. The rest had all lost their lives in the ancient ice vast array and were frozen into lifelike ice sculptures. The number of casualties was something that the Marquis of Qianming and the rest did not expect. Just as they were thinking of ways to tear apart the ancient ice vast array and leave this dangerous place, Yi Qinfeng, who had been sitting cross-legged for 6 hours, suddenly opened his eyes. In the next moment, a large amount of tool patterns appeared in his body. These tool patterns were exactly the same as the ones in the cauldron. Merge with a thought. Yi Qinfeng forcefully imitated the tens of thousands of tool patterns and merged them into the cauldron. He tried to resonate with the tool patterns in the cauldron and subdue the cauldron. This method was the only method he could think of to subdue the cauldron. If there were no accidents, the tool patterns would resonate with each other. He had a high chance of subduing the cauldron. Just as Yi Qinfeng was looking forward to it and praying in his heart, something unexpected happened. The cauldron was like an ancient wild beast that had just awoken and let out a deafening roar. The powerful sound waves produced a terrifying airflow that bombarded Yi Qinfeng. Although Yi Qinfeng's soul was extremely powerful, and his soul sea was guarded by the God-Eater brain, he still felt a splitting headache when he was attacked by the beast roar from the cauldron. A large amount of blood flowed out from the airflow, and his soul was almost torn apart. The tens of thousands of tool patterns that had condensed also broke apart under the attack of this roar and disappeared into thin air. Mobile reading website. Book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this book. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1047. It was an artifact spirit. The artifact spirit of this cauldron was a beast soul. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement, test Yi Qinfeng's expression changed slightly. He didn't expect that subduing this artifact spirit would be so dangerous and difficult. However, he was determined to obtain this cauldron. He continued to control the God-Eater brain to deduce a large number of artifact patterns and fuse them into the cauldron. He wanted to match the artifact patterns and obtain the recognition of the artifact spirit. Howl, howl, howl when Yi Qinfeng condensed the artifact spirit for the second time and subdued this suspected saint artifact cauldron. He completely enraged the artifact spirit. A terrifying soul spirit gushed out from the cauldron. The powerful aura surged like an ancient beast and roared at Yi Qinfeng. Xingluo's clone. Defense. This roar was so powerful that Yi Qinfeng didn't dare to be careless. He immediately summoned Xingluo's clone to defend against this terrifying roar. Boom! 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 A series of explosions rang out as terrifying sound waves surged out from Xingluo's clone. The powerful force forced Xingluo's clone to retreat step by step. Finally, it was sent flying by the surging sound waves and fell into the ancient ice sky array. Heavenly Venerate, Bloodline Ignition. Green Sky Secret Art. Withstanding the immense pressure, Yi Qinfeng immediately ignited his heavenly venerate bloodline. He mobilized the power of heaven in the space and fused it into his body to increase his strength. His hands quickly formed seals and struck out a terrifying blue sky seal that seemed to contain the power of heaven and earth. It exploded the sound waves and attacked the cauldron. Howl when the cauldron was continuously attacked by Yi Qinfeng. A terrifying force completely awakened in the cauldron. A mighty and extraordinary divine bull spirit with explosive muscles and a sharp horn that was sharper than a supreme-grade Tao artifact emerged from the cauldron. Its eyes were deep purple and flashed with a ferocious light. It was the size of a small mountain and had a powerful aura. It roared at Yi Qinfeng. Purple-eyed, mystic rhinoceros. The rumors were true. The abyss of hell was the tomb of the demon god, purple-eyed, mystic rhinoceros. This cauldron must be the demon, the arch-cauldron that was refined by the demon god. The artifact spirit had been modified by the demon god to look like himself. Looking at the illusory image of the divine ox that appeared above the medicinal furnace, the Marquis of Qianming, who was using all his strength to resist the attacks of the ice-light talisman, recalled the origins of the divine ox. As for the demon emperors, they were on the same level as the human Tao emperors. They came from the heaven domain and were above the demon saints and demon venerables. They were extremely powerful and were the overlords of a small world in the heaven domain. They were omnipotent. A medicinal furnace refined by a shifter emperor was an incredible treasure even in the heaven region, let alone in the lower realm. After confirming the inheritance of the medicinal furnace, the Marquis of Qianming became even more envious. Old Zhe, let's use our final trump card to kill that brat and seize the furnace of the demonic emperor. The Marquis of Qianming used the supreme-grade Tao artifact, Ice Dragon Sword, to defend against the attack of the Frost Light Talisman. He transmitted his voice to old Taoist Zhe. The furnace of the demon emperor is not that easy to subdue. Let's wait and see if that kid can subdue the furnace of the demon emperor. If he can, it will save us a lot of trouble. If he can't, it won't be too late for us to use our trump card. Old man Zhe felt that Yi Qinfeng was a little strange, so he transmitted his voice to Yi Qinfeng. All right, let's wait a little longer. Although the ancient ice sky array was terrifying, the Marquis of Qianming and old Zhe were nirvana experts of the Kirin kingdom. They were comparable to a one-star Tao saint in the heaven region and had terrifying trump cards. They believed that once they used their trump cards, they would be able to kill Yi Qinfeng and Mo Fengyun and take control of the situation. The reason why they were trapped in the ancient ice vast sky formation was to confuse Yi Qinfeng. As for the life and death of others, they didn't care. As long as they could get the furnace of the demon emperor and the inheritance of the demon emperor, they could accept any sacrifice. 3 heads and 6 arms feeling the threat of the purple-eyed black rhino, Yi Qinfeng intentionally hid his chaos spiritual beast and didn't summon it. Instead, he burned his celestial master bloodline and dragon bloodline and raised his strength to the extreme. He transformed into the ultimate form of 3 heads and 6 arms and held 6 heavy weapons in his hands. 3 heads and 6 arms. How could he know the mystique of the Kirin kingdom? Seeing the scene of Yi Qinfeng transforming into 3 heads and 6 arms, the Marquis of Qianming and the others widened their eyes in disbelief. Those who weren't of the Kirin kingdom's direct bloodline didn't have the ability to master the 3 heads and 6 arms mystique. Moreover, this mystique was never taught to outsiders. It was impossible for outsiders to learn it. This Yi Qinfeng had to be killed. The Marquis of Qianming, old Zhe, and the others were determined to kill Yi Qinfeng. They would never allow the Kirin kingdom's treasure, the 3 heads and 6 arms mystique, to be taught to outsiders. Once this mystique was obtained by the 9 heavens god nation and the 8 heads god nation, the consequences would be unimaginable. Roar! The purple-eyed black rhino roared angrily. The rolling sound waves smashed the space and bombarded the 3 heads and 6 arms mystique, who was attacking Yi Qinfeng with his 6 heavy weapons, burning 3 major bloodlines and increasing his physical strength by nearly 200 million. Yi Qinfeng's attack power was extremely terrifying. It could even smash a mountain. However, when he was attacked by the purple-eyed black rhino's roar, his entire body trembled and his attack was completely suppressed. Vermilion Bird Cauldron, Gu Fanqing. After his attack was suppressed, Yi Qinfeng summoned the 2 Gu Dao treasures and infused the will of the Great Dao into the 2 Gu Dao treasures. He activated the power of the Gu Dao treasure and attacked the purple-eyed black rhino's soul together. At this time, Mo Fengyan also attacked with all his strength. He was thinking of ways to severely injure the purple-eyed black rhino's soul. As long as he could severely injure it, Yi Qinfeng, who had mastered the Demon Emperor's cauldron pattern, would have a chance to subdue it. Wang just as Yi Qinfeng and Mo Fengyan were battling the purple-eyed black rhino soul. The slowly rotating Demon Emperor's cauldron let out a deafening roar. The terrifying sound waves blasted into Yi Qinfeng and Mo Fengyan's ears. With the God-Eater Brain's defense, Yi Qinfeng resisted the roar attack of the Demon Emperor's cauldron. However, Mo Fengyan couldn't withstand it. His soul was riddled with holes. Large amounts of blood spurted out from his 7 orifices, and he fell unconscious. Universe Realm, withdraw! With a thought, Yi Qinfeng controlled the Universe Realm to withdraw Mo Fengyan and fought the purple-eyed black rhino soul alone. While he was attacking with all his strength, Yi Qinfeng constantly forced out drops of essence blood to attack the purple-eyed black rhino soul, trying to make it recognize him as its master. However, the purple-eyed black rhino soul was too terrifying. Before the drops of essence blood that Yi Qinfeng forced out could even get close to the purple-eyed black rhino soul, they were scattered by the soul power released by the purple-eyed black rhino soul. They couldn't even touch its soul body. How could he subdue the purple-eyed black rhino soul and get the cauldron? Yi Qinfeng defended while thinking of a way. The purple-eyed black rhino's soul was too ferocious. While Yi Qinfeng was defending, his injuries were also worsening. 9 Dragon Jade Annulus. Chaos Divine would faintly unable to resist the purple-eyed black rhino soul. Yi Qinfeng summoned the 2 treasures in his possession. He wanted to use these 2 treasures to fight with all his strength. Boom! The rapidly spinning 9 Dragon Jade Annulus collided fiercely with the purple-eyed black rhino's soul. In just 2 breaths of time, the 9 Dragon Jade Annulus was sent flying. After sending the 9 Dragon Jade Annulus flying, the purple-eyed black rhino soul's power didn't diminish as it fiercely collided with the Chaos Divine Wood. In the next moment, a scene that shocked everyone appeared. A drop of golden blood emerged from the Chaos Divine Wood, reflecting an endless golden light. It hit the purple-eyed black rhino soul's head and shattered its soul body. The powerful bloodline power penetrated the purple-eyed black rhino soul. In just 3 breaths of time, the terrifying purple-eyed black rhino soul, which was suspected to be refined by Yao Emperor, was refined by the golden blood. It obediently stopped in mid-air and quieted down. Seeing the golden blood easily control the purple-eyed black rhino soul, Yi Qinfeng was stunned. He didn't think that the drop of golden blood would be so terrifying. It easily refined the purple-eyed black rhino soul. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1048. What is the origin of this golden blood? It could easily refine the purple-eyed dark rhino's soul. After a brief moment of shock, Yi Qinfeng recovered and immediately squeezed out 2 drops of blood essence, fusing them into the defenseless furnace and the purple-eyed dark rhino's soul. He then controlled the God-Eater Brain to evolve a large number of tool patterns into the furnace. This time, The purple-eyed, profound rhino soul and the medicinal cauldron did not resist Yi Qinfeng's blood essence. Very quickly, the purple-eyed, profound rhino soul and the medicinal cauldron established a bloodline connection with Yi Qinfeng and were subdued by him. Subdued! Yi Qinfeng really subdued the purple-eyed, dark rhino soul and the furnace. Witnessing the scene of the golden blood restraining the purple-eyed, dark rhino soul and helping Yi Qinfeng subdue the demon emperor's furnace, Marquis Qianming and the rest were dumbfounded and looked like they had seen a ghost. Could this golden blood be obtained from the spatial whirlpool? Marquis Qianming doubted in his heart and regretted letting him explore the spatial whirlpool first, giving him a great opportunity for no reason. Subdue! Dripping his blood to claim ownership, Yi Qinfeng fused the purple-eyed dark rhino soul into the demon emperor's furnace and absorbed it into his body to refine. The moment the demon emperor's furnace entered Yi Qinfeng's body, it caused a huge change in the space of the ice palace. The ancient ice vast array suddenly exploded, and a large number of ice-light talismans were destroyed, creating a black torrent that was hundreds of feet high that blasted the entire ice palace. Spatial black hole! Seeing the ice palace collapsing and the space being destroyed, Yi Qinfeng and the rest, who were at the center of the explosion, saw a spatial whirlpool appear in the ice palace. They all raised their speed to the peak and flew towards the spatial black hole while enduring the churning destructive power. Although they did not know what was in the spatial black hole, the explosion of the ancient ice vast array produced a terrifying power that caused large areas of space to collapse. If they continued to stay here, they would only die. Yi Qinfeng was the closest to the spatial black hole, so he was the first to enter it. And the instant he entered the spatial black hole, he fused the purple beginnings, sacred thunder, dual polarity ancient skywater, and death blazed together, unleashing the extremely powerful wrath of divine punishment. It bombarded the Marquis of Qianming and the others who were flying over, wanting to shatter the fragile space and keep them here. True Qilin seal. Looking at the wrath of divine punishment that was like the wrath of a god that could destroy the world, the Marquis of Qianming's hands moved quickly, forming a complicated hand seal. He merged the Tao will in his body together, transforming it into an invincible Qilin. It trampled on the space and blasted towards the wrath of divine punishment. Rumble. A thunderous sound exploded in the chaotic void. The terrifying sound was like the roar of a deity, shaking people's minds. Energy that was like a volcanic eruption gushed out crazily, attacking the Marquis of Qianming and the others, slowing down their speed and damaging their bodies. Ao, ao, ao. Seeing the fragile space collapsing, the two level 9 heavenly beasts let out a shocking roar. The terrifying sound waves were like two wild dragons, tearing apart the distorted and blurry space, neutralizing the power of the wrath of divine punishment. Yin-yang chessboard, stabilize the void. Old Zay's entire body fused with the yin-yang chessboard. A large number of yin-yang chess pieces flew into the void, forming a yin-yang Dao diagram, forcibly stabilizing the shattered void. In the next moment, the Marquis of Qianming and the others seized the opportunity when old Zay was stabilizing the void and entered the spatial black hole, disappearing from the ice palace that was about to collapse. What is this place? Yi Qinfeng, who was moving at an extremely fast speed, endured the terrifying power of space. When he was the first to exit the spatial black hole, he was immediately stunned by the scene before him. He realized that there was a red crack that extended for an unknown distance, as though it came from hell. A large amount of black flames, accompanied by a black energy flow that was hundreds of feet tall, emerged from the crack and rushed into the sky. It formed a large black cloud of fire, burning the entire space until it was constantly distorted. Although the hellish crack was very far away, Yi Qinfeng could still clearly feel a boundless and vigorous power seeping out from the crack, making him instinctively feel suffocated. He had no doubt that if he accidentally fell into the spatial black hole, he would undoubtedly be annihilated by the power that was filled with the red crack. Just as Yi Qinfeng was shocked by the crack in front of him and didn't dare to move forward, the Marquis of Qianming, Old Zhe, and the others all emerged from the spatial black hole. Yi Qinfeng, hand over your life. The Marquis of Qianming roared and suddenly attacked Yi Qinfeng, who was not far away. A huge demon snake descended from the sky, bringing with it the power to destroy everything, suppressing Yi Qinfeng. Poor! Yi Qinfeng gently took a step forward, and a large amount of sword diagrams appeared under his feet. With a single step, he appeared 10 meters away, dodging the fatal blow of the demon snake seal. Yi Qinfeng, let's see where you can run to today. Yu Ying, who had survived the calamity, couldn't forget the humiliation that Yi Qinfeng had brought her. When she thought of how her body was exposed in front of everyone, she had the urge to kill Yi Qinfeng 100 times. She gritted her teeth and said, "Before you make a move, you'd better look in front of you." Yi Qinfeng looked at the murderous Marquis of Qianming, Yu Ying, and the others and said coldly. After Yi Qinfeng's reminder, the furious Marquis of Qianming and the others finally noticed the red crack in the distance that was covered by a large amount of black fog. Their expressions changed slightly. "Marquis, do you know what that crack is?" Looking at the red crack in the distance, the fearless golden lion smelled a strong aura of death. He swallowed his saliva and asked timidly, "I don't know, but the origin of the abyss of hell is very likely related to that red crack." The Marquis of Qianming shook his head and said in a solemn tone, deliberately hiding the relationship between the abyss of hell and the demon emperor. Just as the Marquis of Qianming and the others were shocked by the hellish crack, the highly deductive God-eater brain sensed tens of thousands of array patterns in this space. These array patterns were connected to each other and seemed to be condensing into a large array that enveloped the entire space. While deducing the array patterns hidden in the space, Yi Qinfeng took another step forward. With this step, Yi Qinfeng moved dozens of meters away from the Marquis of Qianming and the others. "Where do you think you're going?" The Marquis of Qianming and the others, who had regained their senses, saw that Yi Qinfeng wanted to escape. They roared furiously and chased after him, wanting to kill him first and seize everything on him before thinking of a way to leave this space. "Marquis, watch out!" When the Marquis of Qianming and the others flew towards Yi Qinfeng, Master Lu Yan's expression suddenly changed, and he immediately reminded them. However, the Marquis of Qianming was too fast. Just as Master Lu Yan's words fell, he flew dozens of meters away. Just as he approached Yi Qinfeng, the space in front of him trembled violently, stirring up a black energy that was hundreds of meters tall and fiercely bombarded his body. Life-saving talisman. Seeing that the Marquis of Qianming was hit by this extremely powerful black energy, he quickly crushed a life-saving talisman, forming a powerful yellow defensive light to block the attack of the black energy. This life-saving talisman of the Marquis of Qianming was extremely precious and could block an attack from a Nirvana Heavenly Realm expert. However, after being hit by this black energy that suddenly appeared, the life-saving talisman shattered in just 2 breaths. However, the Marquis of Qianming still used these 2 breaths to dodge the black energy, narrowly dodging into the distance. "Marquis, there is a problem with this space. Don't move casually." Master Lu Yan looked at the pale-faced and fearful Marquis of Qianming and loudly reminded him. "Ah!" Suddenly, a scream rang out. One of the 2 pillars of the Yu family, Yu Rao, accidentally touched the array pattern and was engulfed by the black, dragon-like energy. With a painful wail, her entire body exploded, leaving not even a corpse behind. "You are!" Seeing the scene of Yu Rao's death, Yu Gu's eyes instantly turned blood-red as he roared in pain. At this moment, his heart was filled with regret. He regretted his ambition. If he had not been blinded by greed and given up on Yi Qinfeng for the sake of the Kirin kingdom, the Yu family would not have ended up in such a state today, and his wife Yu Rao would not have lost her life. Just as everyone was stunned by the scene before them and did not dare to act rashly, Yi Qinfeng quickly took another step forward and moved dozens of meters in a strange manner. He moved in the opposite direction of the red crack, wanting to leave this place. Remember the URL: Sanwu Chinese Network. Chapter 1049. Master Lu Yin, can you deduce the truth of this space? Seeing Yi Qinfeng moving quickly and getting further and further away from them, the Marquis of Qianming asked anxiously. If they let Yi Qinfeng escape, then the chances of them killing Yi Qinfeng and seizing the Demon Emperor's furnace in the future would be slim. I will try my best. Master Lu Yun sat cross-legged on the ground. His hands were moving quickly, forming complicated hand seals. They transformed into array patterns that blended into the void and sensed the mystery of the array patterns. As expected, there is a large array hidden in this space. If we accidentally touch the array, we will be attacked. After comprehending for a while, Master Lu Yin discovered the secret of this space. However, the large array hidden in this space was extremely mysterious. Even with his attainments in array formations, he couldn't figure out its mystery in a short period of time. Damn it! How could Yi Qinfeng's attainments in array formations be so deep? Seeing how Yi Qinfeng moved so easily in this space, as if he was taking a stroll in a park, moving at an extremely fast speed, and soon covering a distance of several thousand meters between them, Haimingtu and Yingjiang gnashed their teeth in hatred, continuously cursing him in their hearts. Go this way! After Master Lu Yin deduced for more than an hour, he suddenly opened his eyes. The array patterns that he constantly condensed turned into a curved line. Like a huge snake, it guided them to move in the opposite direction of the Hell's Rift, trying to get as far away from it as possible. Everyone followed Master Lu Yin and moved for 30 minutes. The guiding Tao pattern suddenly broke. Master Lu Yin had no choice but to continue sitting cross-legged on the ground, forming array patterns and continuing to deduce. At this moment, Yi Qinfeng had already left the Marquis of Qianming and the others behind with the God-Eater Brain's rapid deduction. However, there wasn't a trace of a smile on his face. There was only deep worry and solemnity. No, why do I feel that I am closer to the Hell's Rift? Yi Qinfeng, who was moving quickly, had a trace of uneasiness in his heart. He inexplicably felt that not only was he not out of danger, but he was getting closer to it. He slowed down slightly and sped up the God-Eater Brain's deduction. Strange. There should be no problem with the God-Eater Brain's deduction. But why do I feel like something is wrong? With an uneasy heart, Yi Qinfeng cautiously moved forward for the time it takes an incense stick to burn. When he passed through a black fog, his eyes suddenly widened, revealing an expression of disbelief. He discovered that not far in front of him, the hell fissure that should have been behind him had appeared. Scorching flames soared into the sky, burning everything, making him feel the rolling heat. My senses weren't wrong. That movement just now brought me closer and closer to this hell fissure. Yi Qinfeng quickly stopped and said with a serious face, "But why? What is the problem?" Looking at the Hell's Rift not far away, Yi Qinfeng didn't dare to move anymore. He quickly sat cross-legged on the ground and endured the scorching aura, controlling the God-Eater Brain to deduce a new path of survival. Strange. No problem. Yi Qinfeng frowned and muttered to himself. According to the God-Eater Brain's deduction of the 4 paths of survival, we should be able to leave here. But the Hell's Rift is right in front of us. If we continue to move forward, we will only die. What is the problem? Just as Yi Qinfeng sat on the ground and searched for the key to the problem, Master Lu Yun slowly approached him with the Marquis of Qianming and the others. Yi Qinfeng had finally caught up with him. Looking at Yi Qinfeng, who was sitting in the black fog, the Marquis of Qianming and the others were overjoyed. If it weren't for the danger everywhere in this space, they would have rushed up and killed Yi Qinfeng together. Demon Snake Xiaolin and Yang, Chessboard C, God, stealthily, pulling into the attack range. The Marquis of Qianming Old Zay, and the others all took out their Gudao treasure and attacked Yi Qinfeng. Whoosh! A virtual light flashed under Yi Qinfeng's feet, and he moved around in the space full of formation patterns. He moved continuously in a large range and dodged the attacks of the Marquis of Qianming and the others. "I'll use you guys as an experiment." Yi Qinfeng looked coldly at the Marquis of Qianming and the others. He was prepared to capture one of them and test if there was any problem with the path of survival deduced by the God-Eater brain. "Yi Qinfeng, you won't be able to escape today." After remembering the truth of the formation deduced by Master Lu Yin, the Marquis of Qianming and the others accelerated and approached Yi Qinfeng at an extremely fast speed. "Han Dun, Dragon Bloodlion, King of Massacre, Ling quickly come out and help." As the Marquis of Qianming and the others approached rapidly, Yi Qinfeng immediately summoned all the helpers in the universe realm. "Roar, boss! Leave those bastards to me. Watch me smash them." The Chaos Divine Beast let out a roar and transformed into its strongest battle form. Carrying the bronze coffin that weighed hundreds of thousands of kilograms, it smashed toward the strongest Marquis of Qianming aggressively. "This space is very dangerous. Everyone, remember the path I deduced. Don't touch the formation hidden in this space. Otherwise, you will be in danger." Yi Qinfeng told the Chaos Divine Beast, King of Massacre, and the others about the path deduced by the God-Eater brain. Boom! While transmitting the message, the Chaos Divine Beast raised the bronze coffin high up and clashed with the Ice Dragon sword that the Marquis of Qianming was thrusting over. Dazzling sparks surged out. The ancient bronze coffin was baptized by the power of the world. A large number of mysterious weapon patterns appeared in the ancient coffin. The Chaos Divine Beast used its inherited memories to temper these weapon patterns, greatly increasing the might and hardness of the ancient bronze coffin. With one strike, it completely restrained the supreme-grade Ice Dragon sword. The powerful force shook the Marquis of Qianming's arm until it went numb. "Sacred beast, this is a sacred beast." Sensing the strength of the Chaos Divine Beast, the Marquis of Qianming's expression changed slightly. He didn't expect Yi Qinfeng to have the ability to subdue a sacred beast that was almost extinct in the Duhan continent. "Hai Pings, it's your turn." In the midst of the chaotic battle, Yi Qinfeng's gaze locked onto the second elder of the Eastern Sea Palace, Hai Pings, who was a level 5 combat beast emperor. With a slight flash of his body, he approached Hai Pings using the sword steps. Third absolute water restriction. Illusory dragon water shadow. As Yi Qinfeng approached, Hai Pings immediately reacted. He deduced the Tao intent that he cultivated to the extreme. With his body as the foundation, he turned into a lifelike water dragon. He opened his blood-red mouth and bit towards Yi Qinfeng. Horizontal line sword / Yi Qinfeng's body flashed. An Empyrean celestial sword appeared in his hand. His entire body fused with the Empyrean celestial sword and disappeared in midair in a flash. He fused with numerous great Tao intents and slashed towards the murderous water dragon. Chi! The illusory dragon water shadow was pierced through by Yi Qinfeng's sword. The Emperor Sky sword pierced through Hai Ping's body like a hot knife through butter. If it wasn't for Yi Qinfeng's intention of sparing his life, this sword strike would have killed him instantly and sent him to hell. Oceanic living creatures diagram. Extinguish. The moment Yi Qinfeng severely injured Hai Ping's, Sakuraji suddenly appeared behind him. Her eyes flashed with chilling killing intent as she controlled the oceanic living creatures diagram to launch a fatal attack on Yi Qinfeng. Under the attack of the oceanic living creatures diagram, all kinds of marine creatures swarmed out and instantly engulfed Yi Qinfeng, attacking his body crazily. "Sakuraji, you are too weak." Although the oceanic living creatures diagram was powerful, it couldn't break through Yi Qinfeng's body defense. The Emperor Sky sword slashed across the void and annihilated a large number of marine creatures. Then it slashed toward Sakuraji, whose face had turned pale. When Sakuraji was dodging, Yi Chen-feng carried Haiping's, whose chest had been pierced and had almost lost his ability to fight, and appeared in front of her. He activated the power of the Pearl of the Dead and threw a punch at her. This punch severed the vitality of her arms and severely injured her. In the next moment, Yi Chen-feng carried the severely injured Sakuraji and Haiping's and suddenly left the battlefield. He approached the Hell's Rift at an extremely fast speed. He wanted to use Sakuraji and Haiping's lives to test if the path that the God-Eater brain had deduced was correct. Mobile reading website. Book address. To make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the bookmark button at the bottom to record your reading history. You will be able to see it the next time you open your bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blogs, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1050. Yi Chen-feng, you will die a horrible death. I will not let you go even if I become a ghost. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement, Tetakura. Jing screamed in despair as she felt that she was getting closer and closer to the gates of hell with no more life force left in her arms. Sakuraji, I am sending you to reunite with your two sons. Shouldn't you be thanking me? Yi Chen-feng said coldly, not caring about Sakuraji's curse. After that, his arms burst out with 80 million pounds of strength. First, he lifted Haiping's, who was covered in blood and had no strength to struggle, and threw him out according to the route deduced by the God-Eater brain. Ah! Haiping screamed in despair as he flew toward the terrible crack of hell at an extremely fast speed. He directly fell into the soaring flames and was instantly burned to ashes. Witnessing the scene of Haiping's death, Sakuraji was really scared. Her plump body kept trembling, and her curses turned into pleas. No, don't kill me. Please don't kill me. As long as you spare my life, I am willing to do anything for you and agree to any of your requests. You are not worthy. Although Sakuraji was very beautiful and had a mature charm, Yi Chen-feng never showed mercy to his enemies. He continued to burst out with amazing strength. In Sakuraji's terrified screams, he threw her toward the second path of life deduced by the God-Eater brain. In Air Hemingway map, who was fighting fiercely with the King of Killers, saw Sakuraji flying toward the crack of hell at an extremely fast speed. The veins on his forehead bulged, and he let out a sorrowful and painful howl. However, he was too far away from Sakuraji and could not stop her. He could only watch as Sakuraji fell into the crack of hell and was melted by the hot black flames. Yi Chen-feng, I will not rest until you die. His two sons and wife had all died in Yi Chen-feng's hands. This made Hemingway map completely lose control of his emotions. He stared with blood-red eyes, shook off the King of Killers like a madman, and rushed toward Yi Chen-feng. Boom! Suddenly, the Hemingway map, who was blinded by anger, activated the formation patterns. Immediately, a large amount of black energy soared into the sky and ruthlessly bombarded his body. It tore through his defenses and caused his body to explode. He died on the spot. Following the death of Hemingway map, all the East Sea Palace experts who had entered the abyss of hell had been wiped out. This result made the Yu family and 9 Phantom Mountain extremely terrified. The two paths deduced by the God-Eater brain were both dead ends. The deaths of Haiping's and Sakuraji caused Yi Chen-feng's brows to furrow even tighter. He didn't expect that the God-Eater brain's heaven-defying deduction ability would actually be confused by the power of the abyss of hell and deduce 2 paths of death. Ao, just as Yi Chen-feng was about to continue capturing people to explore the path, the Golden Dragon Blood Lion and Pegasus that were fighting Old Zay were heavily injured. They fell heavily to the ground and were about to touch the array. Universe Realm, withdraw! With a thought, Yi Chen-feng controlled the Universe Realm to release a powerful teleportation force. He teleported the 2 heavenly beasts into the Universe Realm and avoided a calamity. Spatial treasure. I didn't expect you to have so many treasures on you. Old Zay looked at the 2 heavenly beasts that disappeared into thin air, and his face turned gloomy. He didn't expect Yi Chenfeng to have a spatial treasure that he didn't have. However, Yi Chenfeng didn't care about the terrifying old Zai. Instead, he cast his gaze towards Master Lu Yin, who was sitting cross-legged and deducing the entire formation. As long as he could kill Master Lu Yin, the Marquis of Qianming and the others wouldn't be a threat. He didn't even need to make a move. Just the formation hidden in the space would be enough to kill them. Sword Step Yi Chenfeng took a step forward, and a mysterious sword diagram appeared under his feet. His entire body moved and flew towards Master Lu Yin at an extremely fast speed. If you want to touch Lu Yin, you'll have to go through me first. Old Zai understood Yi Chenfeng's thoughts. His body flashed and blocked in front of Yi Chenfeng, not giving him a chance to attack Master Lu Yin. All right, then let me experience the strength of a Nirvana realm expert from the Kirin kingdom again. Looking at old Zai, who was blocking him, Yi Chenfeng didn't retreat. He instantly ignited 3 of his bloodlines and raised his strength to the limit. He then punched towards old Zai's chest. With a punch, a large number of explosions appeared in the chaotic space. It was as if the space couldn't withstand Yi Chenfeng's punch and was about to collapse. Sky-rending hand old Zai's right hand swiped across the void, and a large amount of Tao intent gushed out. It turned into a huge hand that could grab the void and went forward. K Chenfeng's punch was like a hot knife through butter as it collided with the sky-shattering hand. Close to 200 million pounds of strength continuously shattered the sky-shattering hand. The violent energy surged out in all directions like a tide, shaking the space. Seeing Yi Chenfeng's punch actually shatter the sky-shattering hand, old Zai raised his eyebrows and revealed a trace of surprise. He immediately slapped out with his palm. It was like a boundless ocean as it fiercely slapped onto Yi Chenfeng's fist. What kind of power is this? When old Zai's palm came into contact with Yi Chenfeng's fist, the power of the undead spirit pearl entered his palm. It cut off the vitality in his palm and withered his right hand. In the blink of an eye, his right hand that was rich in vitality became shriveled. The vitality in his palm were completely cut off by the undead spirit pearl, and it constantly withered. Gu Jianga, heart of the sword bright moon. Just as old Zai's heart was in turmoil as he was shocked by Yi Chenfeng's attack, Yi Chenfeng swept across the sky. The sword Tao diagram, life and death Tao diagram, and 5 elements Tao diagram appeared on his body. They poured out boundless Tao intent and fused into the Emperor Heaven Sword. They stimulated the might of the artifact spirit and executed the strongest sword move that he currently grasped. A boundless sword slashed across the space, bringing along the sound of the great Tao that was like a huge bell as it slashed towards old Zai, whose right hand had withered. Buzz, buzz, the terrifying sound of the great Tao directly penetrated old Zai's eardrums, causing his soul to tremble. His reaction speed also showed a trace of delay. When he recovered from his shock, the boundless sword that was branded with the markings of the grand Tao of reproduction that was like a mountain slashed down like a bright moon that hung high above in the sky, and it emanated boundless Tao insight pressure as it fiercely slashed onto his body, breaking open his defenses and slashing him flying with a single strike. A large amount of blood spurted out from his body. What? Old Zai was injured? The Marquis of Qianming, who was in an intense battle with the Chaos Divine Beast, saw the scene of old Zai being sent flying by Yi Chenfeng's sword. His expression changed slightly as he was distracted. Roar, roar. Chaotic 5 elements light. Seizing the moment when the Marquis of Qianming was distracted, the Chaos Divine Beast roared. A large amount of chaotic 5 elements light shot out from his mouth and ruthlessly attacked the Marquis of Qianming, forcing him to defend with all his might. Relying on his absolute strength, the Marquis of Qianming might have blocked the chaotic 5 elements light, but his body showed signs of losing control. At this moment, the Chaos Divine Beast raised the ancient bronze coffin and ruthlessly smashed it down. It didn't give the Marquis of Qianming any chance to breathe and attacked him with all its might, suppressing his attacks with all its might. Demonic beast saints will descend upon my body and help me kill my enemy. Gu Jiang's power was too great. It directly injured old Zay's meridians and organs. Helpless, old Zay used his biggest trump card and summoned the demonic beast saints from the heaven domain and fused it into his body. What kind of power was this? Feeling the power of will surging in old Zay's body, Yi Qinfeng smelled a strong sense of danger. With the help of the powerful demonic beast saints' will, old Zay's strength continued to rise. He surpassed the limits of his realm and temporarily possessed the strength of a 2-star demonic beast saint. He was even scarier than the average Nirvana old monster. Even his withered right hand, which had lost its vitality, regained its vitality under the fusion of the demonic beast saint's will. Mobile reading site, book address. To make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1051. As expected of a Nirvana realm expert from a 9th grade Divine Kingdom, Yi Qinfeng revealed a serious expression when he sensed Old Man Zay's sudden burst of strength. Although he had severely injured Old Man Zay, he had taken advantage of Old Man Zay's carelessness to catch him off guard and prevent him from unleashing his true Nirvana realm strength. But now, Old Man Zay had merged with the demonic overlord's will and possessed the strength of a 2-star demonic overlord. He was comparable to a terrifying existence like the Qianling of Gojoseon. Yi Qinfeng was no match for him. However, Yi Qinfeng's goal wasn't to kill Old Man Zay, but to kill Master Lu Yin, who was constantly deducing the array runes. As long as he could kill Lu Yin, who had profound attainments in array formations, even if the Marquis of Qianming and Old Man Zay had heaven-defying abilities, they wouldn't be able to leave this place. Yin-Yang chessboard, stabilizing heaven and earth with his strength skyrocketing. Old Man Zay immediately unleashed the Yin-Yang chessboard. He controlled the Yin-Yang chess pieces to fly into the air and form a Yin-Yang Dao diagram. It forcefully stabilized the void and formed a terrifying pressure that slowed down Yi Qinfeng's movement speed. Gufanqing, Vermilion Bird Cauldron. Ancient Beast Head, seal after being restrained by the Yin-Yang Dao diagram. Yi Qinfeng immediately summoned the 3 Gu Dao treasures. He multitasked and controlled the 3 Gu Dao treasures to attack the Yin-Yang chessboard, shattering the Yin-Yang Dao diagram. With Yi Qinfeng's current strength, he couldn't unleash the full power of the 3 Gu Dao treasures. However, when the 3 Gu Dao treasures attacked at the same time, the explosive power still tore apart the Yin-Yang Dao diagram and restricted the power of the Yin-Yang chessboard. 9 purple lightning strikes, while Yi Qinfeng controlled the 3 Gu Dao treasures to attack. A thunder Dao diagram emerged from Old Man Zay's body. A large amount of purple lightning shot out from the thunder Dao diagram, annihilating everything as it attacked Yi Qinfeng. Sword Dao diagram, life and death Dao diagram, and 5 elements Dao diagram evolved to the extreme. Streaks of purple thunder 9 strikes that were as thick as water buckets and as powerful as the holy lightning struck towards Yi Qinfeng. Yi Qinfeng pushed the 3 Dao diagrams to their limits, constantly transforming into different attacking forms. They were like the roaring sea, towering mountains, soaring dragons, and leaping tigers as they defended against the 9 strikes of purple thunder. Yi Qinfeng's comprehension of Dao insights far surpassed Elder Zay, but there was an insurmountable gap between his strength and Elder Zay's. Soon, the ultimate attack of the 3 Dao diagrams was forcefully broken by Old Zay. Yi Qinfeng, you're truly astonishing. With your strength, you're actually able to cultivate Dao insights to such an extent and condense 3 great Dao diagrams. Elder Zay looked at the 3 Dao diagrams floating behind Yi Qinfeng and said in a chilling voice, Unfortunately, the 3 Tao diagrams cannot save you. Today, you are destined to die here." As he spoke, Elder Zay suddenly sped up and transformed into an afterimage in the void. He appeared in front of Yi Qinfeng as if he had teleported. A ball of crystal-clear heavenly water emerged from his body and froze towards Yi Qinfeng, trying to freeze him. As the crystal-clear heavenly water approached, Yi Qinfeng immediately spat out the death flame, heavenly fire, to defend against the crystal-clear heavenly water. As the heavenly fire and heavenly water clashed fiercely, the purple beginning holy thunder shot out from his fingertips. Like a lightning that pierced through the heavens, it pierced through the crystal-clear heavenly water and blasted towards Elder Zay. Whoosh! Elder Zay waved his left hand, and the yin-yang chess piece that he had grasped earlier flew out and blocked the attack of the purple beginning holy thunder. In the next moment, Elder Zay performed his inherited superpower and activated his powerful bloodline power. He transformed into the ultimate form of 3 heads and 6 arms, holding 2 mid-grade Tao technique level Tao soldiers. He sealed the space and attacked Yi Qinfeng. Gu Jianga, sword heart connected to the Moon Elder Zay's murderous aura surged. Yi Qinfeng used Gu Jianga again and slashed out a boundless sword that was mixed with the sound of Tao. However, this time, Elder Zay was on guard. The sound of Tao contained in Gu Jianga was forcibly dissolved by him. He didn't fall into a passive state like before. Vertigo Artwen Elder Zay waved his 6 arms and shattered the incoming sword heart connected to the moon. The soul power in Yi Qinfeng's mind completely exploded. It formed a terrifying vertigo power and blasted into his soul sea. The powerful vertigo power caused a trace of dizziness in Elder Zay's mind. His reaction speed slowed down again. Dragon heart ignition. True dragon transformation seizing the fleeting opportunity. Yi Qinfeng transformed into a lifelike blood dragon. The dragon's might that erupted from his body was like a bottomless abyss, as vast and boundless as an ancient mountain. The terrifying might made people want to bow down and worship him. Boom! The blood dragon forcefully broke through Elder Zay's defense and flew towards Master Lu Yin, who was trying his best to deduce the formation pattern. Not good. When the danger appeared, Master Lu Yin's expression changed. He quickly stopped his deduction and dodged with all his might. However, Yi Qinfeng's dragon transformation was too terrifying. Its speed was even faster than lightning. In the blink of an eye, the true dragon bombarded the space beside Master Lu Yin, who was dodging continuously. The explosive power fiercely attacked Master Lu Yin's body and sent him flying. True Qilin Seal Elder, Zay didn't expect Yi Qinfeng to break through his defense. His expression changed greatly. He immediately unleashed the Qilin Seal towards Yi Qinfeng, wanting to stop him from killing Master Lu Yin. Cloud stepping boots. Amplitude at the crucial moment, Yi Qinfeng revealed another trump card. He activated the cloud stepping boots and instantly increased his speed. He dodged the true Qilin seal that was locked onto him and appeared beside the heavily injured Master Lu Yin, continuing to attack him. Master Lu Yin's attainments and formations were very deep, but his strength was not outstanding. After cultivating for thousands of years, he had just stepped into the 6th grade combat beast emperor realm. He couldn't block Yi Qinfeng's tide-like attacks at all. In an instant, he was heavily injured by Yi Qinfeng. His entire body was badly mutilated, and he almost lost his ability to fight. He was captured by Yi Qinfeng. Release Lu Yin. Seeing Master Lu Yin being held hostage by Yi Qinfeng, Elder Zay, Marquis Qianming, and the others' expressions changed greatly. If something happened to Master Lu Yin, with their attainments and formations, they definitely wouldn't be able to walk out of this strange and terrifying space. Sooner or later, they would be swallowed by the slowly moving hell's mouth that was approaching them. Do you think I will release him? Yi Qinfeng's lips curled up slightly, revealing a victor's smile. Yi Qinfeng, if you release Lu Yin, I can make the decision to not bicker with you and join hands with you to walk out of here." Although Elder Zay was gritting his teeth, he had to suppress the anger in his heart and said softly, "Not interested." Yi Qinfeng coldly replied. He controlled the universe mirror to take away Hemingway map and the others' belongings. He pressed his right hand on Master Lu Yen's head and used the power of the God-Eater brain to quickly search Master Lu Yen's soul and obtain a portion of his soul memories. Hearing Master Lu Yen's painful wails, Elder Zay's expression changed. He charged at Yi Qinfeng with his 6 Tao treasures, wanting to forcefully snatch Master Lu Yen away. 9 Dragon Jade Annulus, kill! Yi Qinfeng had already calculated everything. Before Elder Zay charged over, he poured almost all of his soul energy into the 9 Dragon Jade Annulus. He condensed it into a deadly dragon and charged at Elder Zay, whose expression changed slightly. What kind of treasure is this? Elder Zay's expression changed slightly when he felt how terrifying the world-destroying dragon was. He instinctively dodged. The moment he dodged, Yi Qinfeng ignored the fact that his body was weak. He grabbed the heavily injured Elder Zay and moved toward the Hell's Crack at an extremely fast speed. "Release Master Lu Yen, or I will definitely turn you into ashes." The Marquis of Qianming roared. If Master Lu Yen died, what awaited them would most likely be death. Hearing the Marquis of Qianming shout, Yi Qinfeng was unmoved. He erupted with nearly 100 million kilograms of strength and forcefully threw Master Lu Yen out. He flew toward the Hell's Crack according to the God-Eater brain's 3rd path of survival. Master Lu Yen's fate was the same as Sakuraji's. He was directly submerged in the black flames spewing out of the Hell's Crack. He was instantly melted by the scorching flames and died. Mobile reading site. Book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1052. Come back. After killing Master Lu Yen, Yi Qinfeng did not continue fighting. He immediately controlled the universe mirror and teleported the injured chaotic divine beasts and spiritual fish back. Watermark advertisement. Test watermark advertisement. Test find them. Find them for me. Master Lu Yen's death directly cut off the Marquis of Qianming and the others' path of survival. If they wanted to live, they had to capture Yi Qinfeng, who had a deep understanding of formations. Just as the Marquis of Qianming and the others were searching the universe mirror, Yi Qinfeng, who was hiding in the universe mirror, began to fuse with Master Lu Yen's soul memories. He wanted to use the formation patterns that Master Lu Yen had deduced to find a way out of this space. What went wrong? Yi Qinfeng pondered bitterly. With the help of Master Lu Yen's soul memories, he searched for the crux of the problem. Yes, this was. When Yi Qinfeng fused with all of Master Lu Yen's soul memories, he raised his eyebrows. With the help of Master Lu Yen's deduction of this space, he had a new inspiration. If this hell crack before him was real and contained great danger, then the hell crack he saw at the beginning might be an opportunity that hid the true path of survival. Thinking of the crux of the problem, Yi Qinfeng immediately drank a bottle of heaven-returning water to quickly recover his consumed soul power. He was prepared to go back and verify if his guess was correct. When Yi Qinfeng was hiding in the universe mirror to recover, the Marquis of Qianming and the others discovered the hidden space of the universe mirror. They immediately gathered everyone's strength and attacked with all their might, wanting to break through the universe mirror's defense. However, even Nirvana's Qianling of Gojoseon and the others were unable to break through the universe mirror's defense, let alone the Marquis of Qianming and the others. Under everyone's indiscriminate attacks, the universe mirror's defense was not affected at all. This made the Marquis of Qianming and the others gnash their teeth in hatred. But there was nothing they could do. Around 2 hours later, the demon saints while an Elder Zay's body disappeared. His strength fell back to Nirvana's. On the other hand, exposing his final trump card, yet being unable to kill Yi Qinfeng, was something that Elder Zay had never expected. And Yi Qinfeng's strength and comprehension of Tao insights had even shocked him. He had a feeling that if he couldn't kill Yi Qinfeng this time, Yi Qinfeng would become the nightmare of the Kirin kingdom in the future. "Marquis, what shall we do?" Yu Yuan asked in a daze. The complete annihilation of the East Sea Palace had shocked him greatly and filled him with fear. He was afraid that they would follow in the footsteps of Hemingway Map and the others. Moreover, their only reliance, Master Lu Yin, was also dead. If they could not capture Yi Qinfeng, they would be swallowed by the slowly moving Hell's Rift sooner or later and lose their lives here. "What are you afraid of? As long as we seal this space and trap Yi Qinfeng here, he won't be afraid of not coming out." The Marquis of Qianming said with a gloomy face, "As long as he dares to come out, we still have a chance to capture him. Everyone listen to my orders. Set up the space lock array and seal this place. I will make it impossible for them to escape." In order to capture Yi Qinfeng, the Marquis of Qianming did not hold back. He quickly took out an extremely powerful array diagram and suspended it in midair. He then taught everyone how to set up the array. Soon, the Marquis of Qianming, Elder Zay, and the others sat cross-legged at the base of the space lock array. They communicated with the power of the array diagram and sealed the entire void. The space lock array was a good move by the Marquis of Qianming. Through the Qinkuan mirror, Yi Qinfeng felt the power of the space lock array and could not help but be impressed by the foundation of a Tier 9 divine kingdom. However, he did not panic. He sat cross-legged in the Qinkuan mirror and deduced the reality of the space lock array through the Qinkuan mirror. As long as he could find the opportunity to break the array, with the strength of a divine beast of chaos, he had a chance to tear the space lock array apart. Soon, 3 days had passed. In these 3 days, with the help of the God-Eater brain, Yi Qinfeng found the relatively weak space lock node of the space lock array. However, he was not in a hurry to break the array. Instead, he tried to refine the demon god's furnace. While he was refining the demon god's furnace, the slow-moving Hell's crack slowly approached. It brought a fatal threat to the Marquis of Qianming and the others, making them uneasy and worried. "Damn it, is Yi Qinfeng going to perish together with us?" Looking at the Hell's crack that was getting closer, the Marquis of Qianming and the others could clearly feel the scorching temperature of the flames and the destructive power it contained. If not for the fact that Yi Qinfeng was the key to leaving this place, they would have taken the risk to leave this place. Just as the Marquis of Qianming was panicking and hesitating whether to persist, a figure appeared in the space lock array. "Attack!" The Marquis of Qianming and the others came back to their senses and executed their own mystiques. They controlled their Tao treasures to attack, wanting to severely injure the figure in one fell swoop. Boom! 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 A deafening explosion sounded, and the terrifying power set off monstrous waves in the space lock array. If not for the space lock array restricting the void, this attack was enough to cause the space to collapse. Facing the combined attack of everyone, this figure was sent flying, but his body was unscathed. "Roar! Roar! Bastards! Your Grandpa Chaos is here!" After using the sword puppet to attract everyone's attacks, the Chaos Divine Beast left the universe realm and roared arrogantly. He transformed into his strongest combat form and exploded with more than 200 million kilograms of power. He raised the ancient bronze coffin high up and bombarded the space lock array that the God-Eater brain had deduced. Crack! The space lock array was hit by the ancient bronze coffin with full force, and cracks immediately appeared. Yu Gu and Yu Chan, who were closest to this array, suffered a powerful backlash. Their bodies trembled violently, and a large amount of blood spurted out from their mouths. Not good. Seeing that the space lock array that he had set up was actually shattered by the Chaos Divine Beast attack, the Marquis of Qianming's expression changed drastically. He immediately controlled the array diagram to rotate, quickly repairing the cracks and moving the array base. Chaos! Attack 3 meters behind you. Although the Marquis of Qianming controlled the array diagram and moved the space lock array, after 3 days of studying, the God-Eater brain had already understood the space lock array. Yi Qinfeng easily captured the second space lock array and sent a voice transmission to the Chaos Divine Beast. Roar! The Chaos Divine Beast roared furiously, and a large amount of light of chaos surged into the ancient bronze coffin. It forcefully bombarded the coffin, and like a mountain, it bombarded the second array node. Crack! Under the full force of the Chaos Divine Beast's attack, the second spatial node shattered once again, and the powerful recoil surged into the 2 heavenly beasts, causing their powerful bodies to split open and blood to gush out from their wounds, staining them completely red. How could this be? Could it be that it had seen through all the weaknesses of the space lock array? The Chaos Divine Beast had attacked the space lock array twice in a row. This caused a huge wave in the Marquis of Qianming's heart, and an ominous premonition arose in his heart. Just as he continued to adjust the array diagram to forcefully change the location of the space lock array, the Chaos Divine Beast blasted out a third attack. The terrifying power completely activated the Tao patterns in the ancient bronze coffin, and with the light of power it bombarded the space lock array's third array node with great momentum, blasting through the array with one attack. In the next moment, Yi Qinfeng kept the Chaos Divine Beast and the sword puppet into the Qinquan realm. He stepped on the cloud-treading boots and flew out. He drew a swift afterimage in the chaotic void array and dodged the attacks of the Marquis of Qianming and the others. He flew out of the space lock array, causing the Marquis of Qianming's plan to trap him to fail. Mobile reading site. Book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Collect button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1053. Chase him. Don't let him escape. The Marquis of Qianming did not care about the damage that the backlash had done to his body. He quickly retracted the spatial locking array diagram that was full of cracks. Then he used a strange footwork to chase after Yi Qinfeng. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement, test. When he was chasing after Yi Qinfeng, he released all of the soul power in his mind and memorized the path that Yi Qinfeng would take. He was afraid that he would make a mistake and activate the array to kill him. Suddenly, Yu Chan, who had just suffered a backlash and was heavily injured, took a wrong step and touched the array. Suddenly, the ground shook violently, and a shocking crack split open under his feet. A terrifying black torrent erupted from the crack, and as he screamed in despair, it engulfed his body. Yu Chan, an ambitious and ruthless person with unparalleled ambition, died tragically just like that. Yu Chan. With Yu Chan dead, only Yu Gu was left in the Yu family. The deaths of Yu Rao and Yu Chan made him realize many things. If they had not been blinded by greed, the Yu family would not have met with such a disaster. In the near future, the Yu family could have borrowed Yi Qinfeng's strength to replace the East Sea Palace and become the #1 holy land in the Eastern continent. They would have been respected by millions. They had personally sent the Yu family to their deaths. Not only did they accelerate the destruction of the Yu family, but the Kirin Kingdom's experts who saw them as pawns also hastened the destruction of the Yu family. Trash from the Kirin Kingdom, you can accompany my Yu family in death. Feeling that it would be difficult for him to leave this place alive, Yu Gu suddenly vented his anger on an expert of the Qilin divine nation who was not far away. His entire body transformed into a huge millstone as he launched a fatal attack at him. This Kirin Kingdom expert did not expect Yu Gu to suddenly attack him. Caught off guard, he was struck by the millstone that Yu Gu had turned into. His body's defense was immediately broken, and he spat out a large amount of blood. He was sent flying and touched the array hidden in the void. Ah! Following a scream, a terrifying black current of energy gushed out from the crack in the ground and melted his body, killing him. Yugu, you're crazy! Seeing Yugu suddenly attack and kill a Kirin Kingdom expert, Yuen's expression changed. I'm not crazy. I've never been as clear-headed as I am now. Yugu roared with a ferocious expression. Yuen, we've been fooled so badly by the Kirin Kingdom. Are you still not clear-headed? Our 3 holy lands will be exterminated because of them. Yugu, you're courting death. Not far away, old Zay roared in anger. He was about to control the Yin-Yang chessboard to kill Yugu to deter Yuen and Yugu from acting recklessly. Bloodline ignition. At this time, Yugu suddenly ignited the bloodline power in his body. He ignored the Yin-Yang chessboard's attack and rushed toward Barbarian Bull like a madman. He wanted to drag someone down with him before he died. Ao! Bastard, you're courting death. Seeing Yugu's crazy attack, Barbarian Bull immediately smelled a dense aura of danger. He instantly transformed into his strongest battle form and aroused the strongest power in his body to resist Yugu's attack. It had a feeling that if it couldn't defend against Yugu's attack, it was extremely likely that it would follow in the footsteps of that Qilin Divine Nation expert just now and touch the spatial array, losing its life here. Barbarian Bull Fist. A huge shadow of a barbarian bull appeared on his body. He punched out with both of his fists. The barbarian bull let out a long roar, and a majestic demonic energy rushed toward Yugu. The explosive energy was enough to kill an ordinary level 6 combat beast emperor. Sky Demon Physique, Demon King Deicide Slash. Facing the barbarian bull's strongest attack, Yugu didn't dodge. He activated all the potential in his body and transformed into the Sky Demon Physique. He detonated both of his arms and unleashed his strongest attack. A large amount of blood chi and demonic chi fused together and turned into 2 blade lights that seemed to be able to kill gods. They slashed down from the sky and ruthlessly slashed at the barbarian bull's shadow. An endless amount of destructive energy exploded, causing the entire space to tremble. Just when Yugu was using all of his strength to defend against the barbarian bull's strongest attack, old Zay's Yin-Yang chessboard flew over and ruthlessly bombarded his body. It broke through his body's defense and shattered his back, cutting off his life force and sending him flying. Yi Qinfeng, for the sake of Nikhang, please show mercy to my Yu family. Before his death, Yugu, who had come to his senses too late, let out a shocking cry and begged. After speaking, Yugu, who had lost control of his body, detonated his body and launched a fatal attack at the barbarian bull before his death. The terrifying power of the explosion was like a surging tide, exploding the void. It ruthlessly bombarded the barbarian bull, who couldn't dodge in time, and directly sent it flying. No. When the bloody barbarian bull was sent flying, it came into contact with the void formation. The black torrent was like a huge devouring mouth that swallowed it whole. In an instant, the terrifying level 9 heavenly beast barbarian bull was killed by the black torrent. Not even its bones were left. You family, I swear I'll exterminate your entire family. When old Zay saw Yugu explode at the last moment and bring the barbarian bull down with him, he gritted his teeth and swore in his heart. However, Yi Qinfeng, who was extremely fast, was getting further and further away from him. He didn't dare to hesitate and used the Kirin Kingdom's inherited divine ability to chase after the Marquis of Qianming and the rest, afraid that they would leave him behind. You family! Yi Qinfeng didn't expect Yugu to realize at the last moment and kill 2 people at the cost of his life. The hatred in his heart for the Yu family lessened a lot, and he decided to let them go. Yi Qinfeng, don't run anymore. How about we make a deal? At this moment, the Marquis of Qianming, who was chasing relentlessly, suppressed his voice into a line and transmitted it into Yi Qinfeng's ears. All right, give me that top-grade Dao sword and I'll make a deal with you. Yi Qinfeng didn't slow down and transmitted his voice while flying at an extremely fast speed. Yi Qinfeng, I think you should be very clear about the dangers here, and I know the secret of this space. You can see through the formation patterns hidden in this space, so we can only have the possibility of leaving this place alive if we work together. The Marquis of Qianming suppressed the anger in his heart and said, Haha, Marquis of Qianming, aren't you thinking too highly of yourself? Do you really think that without you I can't leave this place? Yi Qinfeng wasn't moved. After witnessing the terror of the demon saint's will, he definitely wouldn't make a deal with the Marquis of Qianming and the rest. That would only give the Marquis of Qianming a chance to plot against him. All right. Then I'll see how you can escape from our pursuit. The Marquis of Qianming gritted his teeth and continued to release his soul power to lock onto Yi Qinfeng. He was determined to tangle with him until the end. Slowly, Yi Qinfeng, who was moving around, returned to his original point. From afar, he saw the crack that was spewing out endless black flames that seemed to have come from hell. I hope my deduction is correct. Otherwise, it will be troublesome. Yi Qinfeng slightly slowed down and muttered to himself as he stared at the crack of hell in the distance that gave him a great shock. Demon Snake Imprint. Yi Qinfeng slowed down and was immediately caught up by the Marquis of Qianming. With a roar, the Marquis of Qianming controlled the Demon Snake Imprint to descend and kill Yi Qinfeng with a tremendous force. Although the Marquis of Qianming's attack was very sudden, Yi Qinfeng's senses were extremely sharp. He instantly reacted and used his sword steps to dodge the Demon Snake Imprint's attack. At the next moment, Yi Qinfeng drew out the Emperor's celestial sword and condensed the 3 great Tao diagrams. He then slashed out the ancient sword song at the Marquis of Qianming. The boundless sword that was filled with the sound of the great Tao flew across the sky and blended with the power of the 3 great Tao diagrams as it slashed towards the Marquis of Qianming. After being disturbed by the sound of the great Tao, the Marquis of Qianming's reaction was slightly delayed. He was unable to dodge the sword heart connecting to the bright moon and could only use the ice dragon's sword to face it head-on. Just as the endless sword aura exploded in front of the Marquis of Qianming, Yi Qinfeng suddenly turned around and flew behind the Marquis of Qianming. He grabbed the number 2 of the 9 underworlds mountain, Yu Wuming, who was following closely behind him. Mobile reading website. This book's address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support.